giving the same data set and giving the same codex or codebook, can I reproduce the same results? And if I can I use the codex? Can I use the codebook to find in methodology of obtaining the data? Can I find any sort of confounding variable that wasn't accounted for in the analyses? That's what it means to be reproducible. The problem with the crises of reproducibility is that researchers aren't making their fucking codex or data set available.
That is not the only problem, Michael.
Most people publish in vanity shit.
Yeah, Michael, but that is not the only problem. Reproducibility is not the only problem, Michael. There are many problems within the process that you should be aware of. And this is the problem.
Is that whenever there are...
This is the argument. This is the argument. This is the argument that shut your fucking ass. Since there are a lot of problems within the process, it is not just one. It is not just reproducibility. It is about the process in which this research is going through and being validated that warrants us to say allegedly, and that is actually correct and it is more rational than to us to assume that everything that we read on the fucking research study is the actual case, Michael.
Now, you are
at this
also
point,
assuming
if you still hold the idea that
stop
you're warranted to say that what is published in this study
is the
actual case,
he does it.
That's your problem, okay? That is your problem.
Tasteless, stop bloviating.
I don't think you're going to get anywhere with this. I think Tasteless should explain what this article that he just posted says. What is the problem? The article you posted said this is why peer-reviewed research is wrong. What do they say is the reason, Tasteless?
Well, there is not one single reason. It is about the process and all the variables within the process.
That's not true. You didn't actually read
it's in the fourth,
video.
It is a video. It's in the fourth paragraph.
No, it's not just a video, you idiot.
It is a video.
It's text. There's a text article.
It doesn't matter. Just watch the video and then you will learn what the problems are with peer-reviewed.
And what does it say the problem is? What does it say the problem is, Tasteless?
There is a lot of variables that go into the process that will
No.
It
comes down to one problem. It comes down to wait.
Oh, really, Michael?
According to your source, it comes down to one problem.
Oh, really?
Yes, according to the article that you published, dumbass.
No. I'm talking about the video.
What's the one problem?
Posted, rather.
What's the one problem?
I'm talking about the video. You should watch the video.
You said, Tasteless, you say there's a bunch of them. Then what's one of them?
I already told you. Okay, one is reproducibility. The second one is the incentives of people. Listen,
he can't
in order for you to get published, in order for you to get published,
his own fucking article.
Oh, okay. So I'm not going to be allowed to respond. You asked me a question and then you assumed that I wasn't going to respond.
When he was in the corner,
is this what's happening here?
He didn't realize it. Now he realizes he's in the corner.
Okay, so
your
you're
response
assuming,
was laughable.
Listen, guys.
We don't need any
At
more.
this point, no. At this point, you're just assuming and asserting that I am not going to respond when I'm in the middle of responding to your fucking question.
Wait.
I heard you respond.
What is the one?
Tasteless.
What is the one problem?
Peer reviewed. How do you're alleging that this is the case? How do you know that peer review research is actually wrong?
What? I'm not saying that is the case.
Arriving at watch.
Listen, let's have a conversation in good faith.
Committee or some sort of review process.
Disciple, let's have this conversation in good faith, shall we?
Is there?
Okay, it seems to me
you're alleging that this is not good.
It seems to me, Disciple, that in your mind,
if you're going to address me, please answer my question first. How do you know that this is reputable?
How do I know what?
You know that this article that you posted is reputable.
Well, for once, the guy in the video is Derek Mueller, one of the most respected, scientists of this time. And
allegedly respected. You mean allegedly respected, right, Tasteless?
So are you saying
don't you mean allegedly respected, Tasteless?
Are you claiming that he's infallible?
Alleged facts, you mean.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that at all. All I'm saying is that
because you are giving this you're holding this in a
let me tell
position
you
of authority.
Yeah, so let me tell you why, Disciple. There is a lot of evidence to support the claims that Derek is making. Those are not assumptions. Those are based in facts. So whenever you reach a conclusion, based on facts, right? Public facts, not obscure peer-reviewed facts. No. We're talking about public, trials that have been held
Alleged trials
of fraud within the process of peer-reviewed. And
I would love for you to show me one peer-reviewed article that makes these claims that are so adamant that you're talking about that are objective in some way. I don't. When I read studies, I don't see anybody making claims of certainty.
What? So what are you saying?
Wait, stop. No, I got this.
Really?
Wait, stop. Somebody mute him. No. Look, buddy. So when somebody publishes a paper, there's like an abstract, which generally summarizes the paper. Usually the abstract is used for like people doing tertiary research where you can like use keywords or whatever the case is. There's also like other sections of a paper, right? Like methodology, discussion, or like methodology, findings, discussion, conclusion, right? And so when you say like, what about some bullshit, when we talk about how data is used, researchers in discussion and conclusion sections are always super fucking careful about making generalizations about the data. In fact,
really,
it's a prerequisite. Michael? Yes. Well, I'm not done, sir. In prestigious, as you would say, journals actually require the researchers to say, look, you should be careful in using this data with respect to X, Y, and Z, right? You can't use this data to do X, Y, and Z. But we're making these generalizations about this or that, or whatever the case is. But they show the limitations of the data, and they show the limitations of the analyses that they've done.
And many of these many of these studies that you read is not the first draft and is done after the peer review process because somebody.
So what you're saying is that they're not proposing shit. This is what you're saying. Hey man, peer review, they're not saying anything. I mean, they're not really claiming nothing, dude. I mean, at this point, they're just suggesting, you're making suggestions, but it is not to be taken, as the fact of the matter. All they're saying is suggesting. This is what you're
over people. I was trying to answer. I was trying to say something. You just started talking over me. So what's great about the peer review process is that many of these studies are not the first draft that the conductors of the studies had published, but rather, or not published, but had released for peer review. And through the peer review process, somebody had contacted them in many instances and said, "Hey, you fucked up. Something here is off. I'm getting something different using the same protocol and the same methodology that you used." And then the author would be like, oh yeah, you're right. I did mess it up. Thank you for correcting me. And they would correct it before it's even published. So these things that are published are published.
That's an assumption. You're wrong. You're wrong. That's an assumption.
Yeah, Tassos, you're a little too close to the mic. Can you get back a little bit?
Many of these articles have been published and taken to be the truth, even though they don't have the correct fucking.
Calm down, buddy. Calm down, buddy.
Insane.
Closer to your lips, further from your uvula.
You fucking idiot. Those are assumptions you're
You're an idiot. You think
Tassos
that a microphone
means
is,
you're allegedly assuming.
You think that microphones are
allegedly
good or something?
Disciple, you're only allegedly an idiot. Don't worry.
Oh
Yeah,
no,
it's
I'm saying no. It's actually peer
allegedly an
reviewed.
assumption, too.
No, it's actually peer reviewed within this community. I've reviewed it amongst my peers, and they all agree with me that he's a fucking dumbass.
At this point, this is all you have because, the data and the evidence is suggesting that there are many problems within the process. And those problems warrants every single person to say, well, you say allegedly to be correct. Right, okay? This is the claim. Now, you're saying no. If these guys are saying this is the case, they are the authorities, so in fact that is the case. We have trust in these institutions. They do the thing there's the way you're supposed to. And if they're proposing this shit, it is the actual case. You're wrong if you're wrong to be skeptical and say allegedly, and you're wrong because the evidence is suggesting otherwise.
You know what, bud? You're right. Science is wrong. Now what?
I'm not saying that. That is a straw man.
Oh, okay.
Allegedly.
Allegedly a straw
So at
man.
this point, man,
Oh,
I understand,
well,
Michael.
now I'm confused.
Your ego gets in the way of actually
Tasteless.
acknowledging that me saying allegedly, when you were referring to these studies,
Okay,
was the rational
allegedly.
What
position.
we have yet to demonstrate, Tasteless, is how any study is anything other than an allegation.
What does
we
it
just
mean?
get
Okay,
a
so if it isn't just an
Tasteless, what is your
allegation,
actual-
why do you take it to be the case then?
Allegedly.
Tasteless, what
Why
is
do you take it to be the
Tasteless'
case
actual
then,
claim?
disciple? Why
I'm
do you take it to be
confused
the case then,
now. If
disciple?
Tasteless says he's not
Disciple,
saying science is
why
wrong,
do you take it to be the case?
what is
dude?
Tasteless actually saying then?
Okay, I want to know why do you take it to be the case, disciple?
I want to know what your fucking claim is, Tasteless.
Allegedly the case.
Why
don't
do
take
you
that to be
cover
the
your
case.
backs?
I don't
Whenever
take that to
someone
be
is
the
in
case.
trouble, then JJ comes
You
up.
are-
Oh,
don't
JJ,
take the
JJ,
bait.
I'm
Don't
gonna ask
take
you
the
some
bait.
dumb question.
You are straw manning.
Appear to be,
You
know,
are straw manning my
funny or
position.
whatever.
That-
It's
that
not
was
a
never
dumb.
my
It's
assertion.
not a
Getting
dumb
in the
question.
fucking-
You have to
Don't
ask
don't
for
take the bait.
clarification as to
Listen,
what your
JJ,
actual
stop
claim
getting
is.
in the goddamn way, please. You're
In the
not
way of
entertaining.
what?
You're not
In the
funny.
way of you filibustering?
Listen, man. Listen, JJ.
What
I
could
am
I
not
possibly be
filibustering.
getting in the way of?
Michael is stating his positions. Then disciple is he's asking me questions that I want to respond to, and then disciple comes and start
Tasteless,
doing what,
filibustering,
straw manning both
asking
You're
me
not
so
even,
much.
you're not even
Michael.
completing your fucking sentences, Tasteless. I
So
want to
the
know what
evidence,
Tasteless is
right?
actually claiming.
Listen, man, there is plenty evidence.
I'm listening.
I provided that evidence in the chat.
Evidence
And
of
there are
what?
many cases,
that Michael,
evidence that the peer
Evidence of
review
what,
process,
Tasteless?
evidence that the peer review process is flawed enough for us to conclude that whenever we're citing a peer review study, the correct way to go is to say allegedly. This is the alleged state of affairs that they are claiming in this study. This
Allegedly.
is all, and as far as we
is there
can go,
anything that we
for
can
us
look
to
at
make
that
a
is
leap
not-
and say this is
Tasteless,
the
let
actual
him
case,
respond.
because this institution is
Let
peer
him
reviewed, and this study is
respond.
peer reviewed.
Okay,
Therefore,
Let
it is
disciple
the truth.
respond.
Tasteless.
You're wrong. You're
Allegedly
wrong to
wrong.
take that leap. You're wrong to
Tasteless. I
assume that
understand
is
what
the
you're
actual
saying,
case,
Tasteless.
which is exactly
I
what
understand
Michael
you're
was
saying.
doing.
Now let me respond.
Michael was saying that I was over
Fucking
skeptical.
respond.
That it
Shut
was
the fuck
healthy
up.
skepticism to say
Allegedly.
allegedly.
Hey,
Let
shut
him
up.
respond. Let him respond.
Is there anything besides studies that we allegedly?
Well, this is too bad, actually, because the follow-up should be Tasteless.
Allegedly
How did you
too bad.
No.
How did
Wait
you
a minute.
determine?
But look,
He's accused. Wait. He's
How did
accused of being a
Tasteless
liar.
determine?
Tasteless is
How did Tasteless determine this, though?
his assertion is
How
that
did Tasteless
Michael and
determine-
Michael and
Okay,
I hold these peer-reviewed studies to be infallible, is what it seems, and that is not my assertion.
So you agree with me that
He is straw manning.
saying allegedly is correct, right?
Oh, you don't have to say
Everything is
allegedly because it's
alleged,
already
dumbass.
implied.
No,
Everything.
Michael, because that wasn't, Michael, that wasn't your
Tasteless,
position.
you don't have to say
If
allegedly.
disciple agrees with me,
No,
Michael,
Tasteless,
that
you don't
means
have to say
he is against
allegedly.
your original.
Tasteless, why do you
Well,
have
I
to say
think-
allegedly whenever these studies are not positing themselves to be infallible?
Then why is it Michael had a problem with me saying alleged?
Well, I think what you're doing now is attacking a straw man, Tasteless. But I'm
No.
curious, how did you
Disciple, I want to
determine?
know
How
why
did you determine?
Michael said,
I
"Hey
don't-
man,
well,
that is not healthy
a follow-up question,
skepticism.
Tasteless.
That is you being over skeptical, dude.
Tasteless.
Because these
No,
institutions are
Tasteless.
so fucking.
No, that's
they are
not the issue,
All right,
Tasteless.
so
If you could just take a deep breath,
scientific, dude.
Tasteless.
That
If
the
you could
results
just take
and
a
the
deep
research
breath.
coming out of these prestigious institutions, they are proven, man. They're
Allegedly,
peer
right.
reviewed.
So Tasteless,
by tertiary
Tasteless,
study research.
Tasteless,
Motherfucker, I'm showing you all the problems that you were
Tasteless.
not aware
You've
of,
made a
Michael,
claim, though,
that warrants the
Tasteless, you've
claim,
made a claim.
allegedly.
and now
That's
you're
it.
just filibustering, Tasteless.
You're
Tasteless,
obstructing,
you've made a
JJ.
claim.
You are
You've made a
obstructing,
claim. You've made a claim that the peer review is flawed, and the best you can do is say that something is alleged due to peer review. So, how did you determine that?
Oh, because of all the evidence pointing to that direction.
You mean the
from
alleged?
different
You mean the
sources.
alleged? You mean the alleged evidence?
You mean a fucking
No.
study?
You mean the alleged evidence?
Well, you see, JJ, the difference between a fact
No, all
and
you're
an
doing is
alleged
positing a
claim
study
is
that
that
has
you can
not
actually
been peer-reviewed.
corroborate it.
Do you mean the alleged facts?
Hey, you can actually corroborate these things, dude.
Okay,
It is very
that's
simple.
great.
Oh, how do you do that? How do you corroborate
It's
it?
very simple.
How do you corroborate it? How do you corroborate that, Tasteless?
How do you corroborate what?
Your alleged
claim,
facts.
Because in order
Your
for that to
alleged
be
facts.
Listen,
Let
how do you
him answer.
corroborate your alleged facts?
What alleged facts, dude?
the fact
That's
that
what I thought.
you said that there is so much.
You mean you don't have any
I'll
facts?
help you if you're not specific.
You said there's so much.
So you
evidence,
don't have
right?
any facts.
So
You claim
basically
that
what
you
you're saying is-
corroborate
Now that
your
you have
claim.
been shown that my claim
Can you
was correct,
can you finish this up,
that
Jim?
there are plenty
You see where we're
It has
going?
been shown,
You know,
right? It has
to
been shown by
determine-
the evidence and by using methodology
Allegedly
and
shown.
protocols to come to a
Disciple
conclusion,
was
aka a
suggesting
study,
that there was no
aka a
problem.
study. Now I'm going to
That this
ask you.
process
Now I'm going
was-
to ask
was
you:
the
is that
best
study peer-reviewed and is it published in a journal?
Oh, so are you saying the published, journals are correct? That they have
Jim
been?
has
I'm
mixed
saying
his
that
channels
published
correct.
journals that are
proven?
peer-reviewed
Is this what you-
are more reliable than journals that are not.
Hey, that is not the claim, is it? My question is, are you saying that if it's published,
Here,
then
Fawn.
that means that means the fact that it is published, that it went through the process of actually being reproduced, and
Allegedly
that actually
reproduced.
was proven by third parties. Is this what you're saying?
Proven, not proven. Nobody asserts that it is proven.
Well, they reproduced. You're saying that there are published articles that have not been
This is
reproduced.
hilarious.
Is that
No,
So
you
sorry,
are
Claire.
strawmanning.
Why is nobody
you are
finishing him?
strawmanning-
Question. I'm
you are
not strawmanning.
the
I'm asking a
scientific
question.
method, and you are strawmanning the peer review
Allegedly.
process.
I choose new guy Kyle as our champion. Kyle, first.
So, Kairos, listen, dude.
What?
I ask you a question. A question is not a straw man. I want you to clarify your position. You're the one suggesting that
Alleged question.
published research, right, had already gone through a process that makes it less likely to be flawed, right? Yes or
Yes, correct.
okay. So, is it the case that you assume that published papers, they went through a process of, they reproduced the studies and they reached the same conclusions, therefore they published it? Is that your assumption?
Yes, I assume that in the same way that when I see a car driving down the road, I assume that somebody got in the car and started it up.
Just say a yes or no will do.
Yes.
You assume that. Okay. So, according to you, okay, let me ask you another question. Do you think there's a possibility, or do you know of any instances where you have published research that had not been reproduced or gone through the process that you feel gives it like more trustworthiness?
Yes, they're called vanity journals.
No. Published research. I'm asking.
Yes,
Is
they're
there
called vanity
published?
journals.
What?
What the fuck? Do you understand
there
what a
are-
vanity
okay.
journal is?
God damn it, man. You were saying that if a fucking
yes,
study
yes,
is
there are
published,
cases where studies are published that do not go through the peer review process, and they are in these cases they are published to are called vanity journals. Shut the fuck up and let me explain, because you don't know what the fuck a vanity journal is. A vanity journal is something that is a pay to play. So in order to be published, you have to pay to publish your paper, but it does not require that it be peer reviewed, and it posits it as authoritative.
Okay, so from the get-go, you say, if an article is published other than vanity, I assume that they went through a process of research and reproduced and all that shit, and this is what you're
If I
assuming.
look
Yes or
at
no?
the study and it says that it was peer reviewed, then yes.
Okay, so according to you, there is no way that published research other than vanity, outlets or whatever. Is it the case that you're not aware of any published, research that was flawed? If yes,
No, I didn't make that assertion.
well, you're not aware of any, right?
I'm aware of several. We're learning new things all the time. So
God
things that were published back in the 70s are being revoked and revamped all the time.
Oh, but you're saying current research, they fix that. If a research is published now, they don't have that problem.
The current research implements and utilizes current information and methodology and technology that we didn't have originally, or that might not have been existent, or might not have been implemented in the study.
Okay, but you do aware that there might be a possibility that this is the actual case. I mean, that some research is published.
Yes, but what you're not understanding is that these studies, it's not the same study that's being done now, because once you start using and implementing and introducing more variables, then it's no longer the same study.
What? What are you talking about? Why did you bring that information? How is it relevant?
What?
How is it relevant to this line of questioning? What are you trying to cover
relevant
yourself
because it's relevant because it's not the same study, because it seems like you're trying to say that it is fallible because new studies come along that prove that old studies were wrong, but you're taking it out of context.
That at all.
You're taking it out of chronological context and
no.
Out of
it has nothing to do
study as it was performed.
Disciple. It has nothing to do with what the study is proposing and its reliability against reality. It has to do with them. You assume they went through a process, right? That gives you more confidence that the results are actually true.
You're gonna have
yes,
right, Jim. You're gonna have to finish this guy, or somebody's gonna come in with the elbow. So it's either you or one of us.
Disciple is
now. Okay,
if I were to show you,
whenever you
if I were to show you several, not just one, but several cases in which your assumptions are incorrect, in which published studies from these institutions you claim to trust,
you're right. Okay,
went ahead and were published without them being reproduced before, went through the process that you claim they go through.
Fuck up.
What would be your position then?
Tasteless. When you see a car driving down the road, do you assume that somebody started that car and got in it?
I don't. Yeah. I do.
Okay. Did you see them get in the car and start it?
No. But that is a necessity. That is a necessary event. In this case, dude, you're trying to make it seem as if they, if they are published, it is necessarily the case that they went through this process. This is what you're claiming.
This is like the most retarded.
Okay, yes, and in order to come to a
disciple, just 1 second, right? Can I just? I'm gonna throw you a bone here. Yeah, look, this is a complete waste of your time. He doesn't understand what you're talking about. Why would you keep doing this?
Because it's entertaining for a little bit.
Yeah, Pogan. Is this gonna be your new thing? You just come in and say, "You guys shouldn't be talking to this dumb guy." That's what we do here, Pogan. Talk to dumb guys.
I mean, like, people give me shit all the time for like, criticizing religion and making videos like, why do you waste your time on this shit? It's like it doesn't mean anything. Well, it doesn't to you, but the fact that there's somebody out there who believes it's stupidity.
Pogan, how long did you listen to whether or not desire and reason were the same thing?
Look, you answered the question.
How long did you listen to that?
Disciple, right? So as long as you were entertained, by all means, you just seemed a little frustrated.
The only reason I'm frustrated is that I can't get a word in edgewise. If he would let me finish, I could care less as to the degree of stupidity that he exudes, but I would like to be able to finish my statement.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I wasn't saying that like in this instance. I'm just saying in general.
We should probably move on. So any Jordan Peterson fans in here? Big Jordan?
This is worse. I'd actually rather...
Yeah, this is worse.
I just want 2 minutes of everyone's time. Okay, everyone.
No, not this 2 minutes.
Lobsters here. Can we just not do that? Is that possible?
I gotta go get lunch. No, I just listened to a Jordan Peterson podcast, fresh off his latest one, and they asked him what is causing the depression and anxiety epidemic.
I'd like to publicly apologize.
And what was his answer? What was his answer? What was his answer? Everybody, any guesses?
I don't know.
Sugar.
Diet.
You said the microbiome and diet. And you went on a tirade for forever. I've been trying to tell you guys.
Is Jordan Peterson still eating raw meat and nothing but raw meat?
You guys this for
It's never been raw meat. It's been all beef.
Well, whatever.
I've been trying to tell you guys this for months, and you guys just say, no, it's bullshit. Jordan fucking Peterson, all right? You guys love that.
But he has a point, antidepressants.
Oh my god.
Actually, well, I don't think one person here said that diet wasn't important.
Not only
Sugar,
that,
you
I
would
don't
not.
think anybody said that.
You all said it wasn't important at all, and you debated me for
Sugar,
days.
you would
fuck
not
off.
agree
You're
with
dumb.
Jordan Peterson's
Oh no, I
diet,
hate Jordan
though.
Peterson. Yes,
Jordan
I do hate
Peterson
Jordan
doesn't eat any leafy greens. He doesn't eat any
No, that's
fruit.
his daughter. That's his daughter.
He allegedly.
No, he cut it out
He does
too.
eat lots of vegetables. I just listened to him talk about it. It's his daughter that does all that weird shit.
No, he does it
you
also.
don't listen very
He does it
well.
also.
Those are all
We
just
already know this.
allegations, and since we don't know for sure, then we can just throw that all out.
Hold on a second,
that's
Sugar.
funny.
Are you claiming that Jordan Peterson does not have a all beef diet and water and salt like his daughter?
Yes.
It's false. He's doing it also.
Prove it.
Huh?
I just listened to him talk about it on his podcast with Dr. Oz. He said he eats all types of shit.
What?
yeah, this is
Talk
worse.
about it, and he didn't no point.
Dr. Oz is
talking
a
about
quack
eating
bot, too.
a vegetable.
He was just on
Dr.
Dr.
Oz.
I don't know why you would appeal to Dr. Oz or Jordan
That's what I
Peterson as
heard
if-
the podcast on. It just came out today.
Whoa.
It's him talking for like 3 hours.
Look, are you
I
appealing
was like,
to these
oh,
guys?
Jordan Peterson.
Shut up for a second, right? Like, are you
Jordan
appealing?
Peterson,
God,
he's the
dude.
smartest guy alive.
No, he's not appealing to fucking Dr. Oz. He's
No,
just
no, no,
saying
no,
that
no,
that's who he was
no, but
talking to.
But it seemed like he was appealing to Jordan Peterson, saying this as if Jordan Peterson has expertise in the field or any demonstrable
That's
knowledge.
true.
Pogan.
Well,
Yes,
well,
that
that's
is
He was
true.
appealing
That is
to
true.
it.
But Sugar,
That is
Sugar,
true.
what else did Jordan Peterson said he ate?
I'll have to go back
Say.
and listen to it. But he doesn't.
You'll
do
have to go back and listen to it. Right, because you weren't
I don't
listening
remember.
to
He
it the
doesn't
first
do the
time.
thing like his daughter. He does
I
not do
hear
the all
ya.
meat thing like his daughter.
Why
All
do you
meat
say
thing like
that?
his daughter. Talk about it.
Why do
He
you say that, Sugar?
talked about eating other
What did
foods
he
that-
say, though?
Well, re-listen.
Do you
Go listen
if he
to
was
it this
claiming
time.
That it was he saying that it was correlation or a causation?
The old hard-hitting question of why do you think that?
Look, whatever. This is here nor there. It doesn't matter. The point is that what's causing the mental illness epidemic in America is I've been
You are
telling
absolutely
you,
awful, dude.
leaky gut shit is the leaky gut shit in the intestine.
Here we go. Here we go. Here we go.
I mean,
You heard the
that's
claim.
really
You heard the claim. Here comes.
And I got laughed at.
Here comes,
I got
guys.
mocked.
Here comes,
For
guys.
days I got
Here
mocked.
comes, guys.
Just
Why
for
do you
having
think
the
that?
same opinion as Jordan Peterson.
Yeah, we're still gonna laugh at you. Think anything's changed?
Is there a study
But
that you
Sugar,
reference
no
or that
one
you cite?
disagreed. No one disagreed with you that diet and exercise affects your mental health. In fact, I specifically talked about the gut microbiome with you, relating to depression and anxiety. So you're just pulling that out of your butt. The thing that people disagree with you with
Your
is
leaky
that
butt.
is that the medication can't is terrible for you, basically, like, and it's no solution kind of thing, that it has no utility. That's your claim that people disagree with you about.
Okay, first of all, revisionist history. You, yes, agreed, Layla, but everyone else disagreed. And for days I had to fight about this. And then two, medications are neurotoxic. That's just a fact. They're toxic for your brain. So in the short term, they might be helpful or whatever. In the long run, very dangerous.
That's a very stupid claim.
You know what? They're
Medication,
not
full
dangerous in
stop.
situations where it keeps people from committing suicide, Sugar.
What else
So
is
in the
dangerous?
short
People
term,
that
so in
run
the
them
short
now.
term, you can use them. In the long term, very dangerous. They're neurotoxic.
Let's get the claim down pat. All medications are neurotoxic.
No. Antidepressant, mood
Inhibitors?
drugs that cross the blood-brain barrier into your brain. Yes.
Sugar, you know the other day when you were asking if you did anything bad to the server? What you're doing right now, and some of the things that you do, these are the type of things that you do that are kind of bad.
Well, they're just opinions on a debate server, and are they bad? What if I'm giving you the best?
Well, this is pretty good actually, because he's saying a lot of dumb stuff, and the room needs.
I guess in that respect,
The room needs dumb stuff to to keep going.
I guess.
Sugar, do you know a medication that crosses the blood-brain barrier?
He's not.
Melatonin, man.
He's not wrong about antidepressants being a neurotoxin.
That's right.
Yeah, but that's not what I mean.
Anything. Well, wait a minute. Anything on his view that crosses the.
How is he qualifying toxicity?
Jovan, we're gonna need you to fix your microphone, and then when you do that, we'd love to hear from you.
Well, get a signal. Find a signal and then talk.
I would need to come up with a better definition than just crosses the blood-brain barrier.
What's the neurotoxin definition?
But
poisonous to the central nervous
system. And SNRIs are neurotoxic for sure.
What do you mean by poisonous?
That's the definition of toxic. Like it causes
well, yeah, but I don't. Are you saying that's what his definition is?
Yeah, we're not interested in yours. We're interested in his. Whoa. We're interested in Sugar's definition.
Jordan Peterson didn't say anything about medication.
And that's why I was asking him just a moment ago how he was qualifying what he meant by toxic, because that's kind of important. If he just means in general that it crosses the blood-brain barrier and it creates a specific effect that is non-natural, for lack of a better way of putting it, then that's a kind of useless fucking definition. But if
but the minute that you give the information to him, then it's worthless asking him a question.
Right. Yeah. So let's let him answer the questions that he. Yeah.
It's like
anyway. So I gotta go to lunch. But Michael.
Oh my god! Fuck off, dude. Seriously, shut up. Bye.
Just me.
Bye.
Bye. Jordan Peterson.
See you. Bye.
I grab a coffee.
Yeah. So where the fuck did Kukulin come from here?
I literally just dropped in.
Literally.
From where?
I know. I saw when you came in.
He's been sitting, listening. That's what
I saw.
Yeah, but you dropped him from where?
It's a
I don't know, Tom.
Who would you invite?
I just. What the fuck?
Oh, nobody. I
allegedly dropped in.
Yeah, I just like showed up one day.
Let's see. Hang on. I will open the. Let's see.
Jeez, you don't remember where you clicked the link from?
Holy shit! If you let me answer, I followed a link from a video.
Oh God!
Apologist arguing in.
Oh,
okay.
Great.
Which one?
What was the video?
Gary Milne or whatever his fucking name is.
Or you just come from my you just came from my YouTube channel? Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, from a YouTube video.
Tom Rabbit?
I saw this link in the description. Yeah, Tom Rabbit.
Okay, gotcha.
That's a great channel, man.
Well,
That's a great channel. Great channel.
Are you subscribed?
Gee, what the fuck?
Jesus fucking Christ.
Have you heard of Tom Unboxes?
No, this is my first experience.
What?
With any of
No,
this. That was the
idiot.
No.
The YouTube channel.
Pogan, don't call new guy an idiot.
Yeah, Pogan, geez,
Pogan,
don't.
Shut your face, please.
Pogan scares away all the new people. Don't listen to him. He's just a meanie. He's just.
No, I'm not. Look, the only reason I was.
Pogan is very unhappy in his life. Don't.
Nobody wants to know the reason.
I had a
Pogan.
mild incident earlier involving a microwave and a rabbit. Okay, so I'll be nice to you from now on. Have you heard of Tom Unboxes though?
Hold on a second. So, like, where'd you hear about? How did you stumble upon the video in the first place?
The whole rabbit trail starts with.
Rabbit trail.
Yeah, rabbit. So the whole.
Just mute Pogan, please.
And Pogan might have to be muted. I don't want to do that, Pogan.
Oh, yes. Fuck you.
Hogan is nice trolling.
Darwin Dieter, wherever he goes by now, called into Atheist Experience and.
Wait. Now? Wait,
no,
you know him?
No.
Darwin's deity?
No, I'm just going off the names that I've read on the internet in the past 20 fucking minutes. So he called into a couple of various shows, and I was like, oh, this looks like an interesting Discord, so I clicked the fucking link. And I heard some screaming belligerence, so I muted it for a little bit, but then I came back into this guy making a naturopathic argument. I just wanted to chime in and see if he qualified.
Have you talked to Darth Hawkins?
No.
Do you want to?
Not really.
Oh.
What?
I've
You're
got
insane.
about.
Why wouldn't you want to talk to an internet celebrity like that?
I value his time too much, and I wouldn't want to interrupt.
Wait,
what?
Okay, let's get this. Let's just get
What?
clear. Let's just
What?
let's just get clear.
Was
You
my
value
sarcasm
his
not
time.
fucking palpable enough?
Yeah, he's being sarcastic.
Next time, I'll say this is sarcastic first before I talk.
Okay.
Okay.
Anyway, so I have very little experience with Discord whatsoever, and this just seemed interesting to me. So.
Well,
This is the best server.
of course, this is the best server on Discord.
Which part of it was interesting?
Well,
Debate,
I mean,
actually.
Other servers are much worse.
That's what makes this the best.
Right. So that's why this is the best.
I would argue that JJ is what makes this the best.
Well, that's
Go fucking hang
just
yourself for saying
silly.
that.
Oh, I want to hear this argument.
It's pretty silly.
Well, I'm just alleging.
I still want to hear it.
You see, there's a study in a vanity journal.
Disciple, you were wrong. Nobody can. I mean, everybody knows that. Yeah. So you make these cracks.
Here we go. Here we go. We're going again. Here we go. Round two, boys.
Right, here we go.
Hold on a second. You know the sad part is that after listening to all that Tasteless and Pogan and Disciple stuff, I still don't even know what Tasteless's claim is. I don't even think Tasteless knows.
That doesn't speak well of you, Tom. Right? Most people here know.
Okay, so see now you tried to call me out, right? And now I'm gonna put the spotlight on you because you know, of course, this is such a crazy thing that I just said, right? What's your claim in two sentences?
What's my claim? Well, my claim was from the get-go that saying allegedly when referring to these studies was the most rational thing to do. Now, Michael was saying that taking the leap of actually saying that what the studies were saying was the actual case.
Wait, I was gone for 30
We just want to know
an authority.
Tasteless.
That was the whole claim.
We just want to know what your claim is.
I already did.
And
Okay, so
right.
So
and your
using
claim
just your
is
claim, Tasteless, the claim that we have to
You're
use
ruin it again,
the term allegedly in order to
Jim,
talk about these studies. I mean, do you have justification for your
Jim, no, don't wait. Just let him.
No, I just want to ask him.
Let Jim try again.
I just want to ask him. Just maybe simplify it a little bit.
Jim was the guy when he played Mortal Kombat. He always tries to try to do the fatality, but it would just be like a jab and then like a short kick, and then it would be over.
But I had that cheat code where it rips the spine out. I'm about to do it.
That's actually funny.
Okay, so when you say allegedly, that we need to be using the word allegedly, do you have justification for your belief that these studies are not posited as anything other than an allegation?
No. The claim is that there is evidence.
No. I'm talking about the studies. Do you believe these studies are claiming to be objective?
There is evidence, enough evidence, for us to know that the process that you so much trust, that you trust so much,
And what benchmark, what standard are we
in a way
to achieve?
that saying allegedly, meaning this is what the study claims.
How do you establish?
Whoa, I'm not done. Don't interrupt.
Okay.
In a way that it is more correct to say allegedly, right? It is warranted in virtue of the lack of trustability on this institution.
He's asking why you think look, he's why asking.
However,
oh my God,
if you're saying that I am not warranted, or that this me being skeptical about the
that's not what I'm saying.
The truth
That's
nature of this
What
shit.
I'm saying is that these studies
are not
positing themselves to be an objective truth. They're not positing themselves to be infallible.
I never said they were.
It's implicit. Look, it's implicit in the assertions made by a scientific study or scientific paper that they're allegations, right? All we mean by allegations is that they're not 100%. So it just seems redundant to require scientists to say, evolution, instead of saying evolution is the manner by which organisms change, now they have to say allegedly evolution
Before this
is the manner
conversation,
by which.
I'm sorry, Pogan. Listen.
Well, you're not
The
going to
fact of the matter is the following. The fact of the matter is the following. Before this conversation, before I presented all this
let him
huge
finish.
I wasn't
Tasteless. Let him finish.
I wasn't done, right? Wasn't quite finished there, Tasteless.
No, but
so
you
what
were
we're
not in
asking,
the conversation.
I'm still not done,
Disciple,
right? Like this is
ask me
just
a
gonna make it
question and
take
I'm
longer,
about
dude.
to answer.
You're just gonna make it take longer, dude.
Pogan, weren't you the one who stopped everything to say that we shouldn't be talking to Tasteless?
Yeah, I'm a hypocrite. We can move on. Look,
Yes, you are a
we're
hypocrite.
asking what the evidence is for the term allegedly being used in those cases being necessary.
Yeah. So it is necessary because before we had this conversation, these guys did the both of them. I'm talking about Michael and I'm talking about Disciple, right? They both worked under the assumption that these institutions were so prestigious and the checks and balances that these institutions had, right, were so good and so
Is this true, Michael?
that being skeptical of their findings
of course
you are a liar and you are misrepresenting
Look,
it.
there's no way either of them said that,
unhealthy.
right?
This is Michael's claim. Unhealthy
No, you are a liar,
skepticism.
and you are
There's no
misrepresenting
reason to
both
be
of us.
skeptical about what these institutions are
No.
providing us
You're a liar.
through this
No.
peer research.
liar.
Man.
Yeah, this
And I
seems
said,
really
He's
dishonest.
lying.
Dude, I am perfectly warranted to say allegedly in virtue of all the cases in which peer review has been shown to be incorrect,
You're kind of
in
lying
virtue of the
shit
full
weasel. Lying
process
shit weasel.
that goes into the peer review process. So
Calm down,
therefore,
buddy. Calm
the
down.
most rational position to take is to say allegedly. This is what this studies say.
Calm down,
They are
buddy.
proposing,
Calm down.
right? Allegedly.
Calm
happened.
down, buddy.
Tasteless. Now it just
Period.
seems like you're being dishonest about what they said.
That's
well,
incorrect.
that's
Yeah.
beside the point. We can even
No,
accept
Michael
that.
can
Well,
corroborate this
the
shit.
fact of the matter is that even if that's what he thought that he heard us say, both of us have clarified our positions multiple times, and he continues to strawman us. So he's not just being dishonest; he's a straight up liar.
Where
That's
did
what
I strawman you?
Ooh.
Tell me where. Listen,
No,
listen,
I think
Disciple, the problem is
dishonest, like
that
you could be like
decided to
intentionally
take
misleading,
shit
but I
against
think
me.
liar.
But the
is
original
like,
fucking discussion was being held with Michael.
Wait,
Right?
Michael,
were you-
And
can you
you
be
decided
unintentionally dishonest?
to strengthen his position, saying, "Yes, man,
No, of
these
course not.
institutions are
Okay,
so
thank you.
good, and the checks and balances of all this pure project and shit, whatever, right, makes it so you don't have to be skeptical about this shit." And I said, "No, there is reasons," and I posted 100 and
Did he just get muted?
that went into. I'm
Hopeful-
sorry, I think
Wishful thinking.
whatever. So
Wishful
the
thinking.
problem is that you were shown to be ignorant about the crisis of that this process is going through, that you were not aware of the problems that lie that go within this process.
What the
So
fuck
what
are
you're
you
saying
talking
Now
is
that you
about?
are,
Can you just
say,
like make
but
your
I
point?
agree with you, man. Saying allegedly is fine. Well, then you agree with me, then shut your fucking
Okay,
ass.
so
Because this
your
discussion was being
study
held with
allegedly claims this thing, right? So it's not necessarily true, right?
Ah,
That
That's
doesn't mean
Uh-oh.
that. It means it is a description of what's happening at the moment. That is, these people are saying this. That's all there is to
You're
it.
starting to understand
Get
what a
wrecked,
study is. I'm
Tasteless.
so
Get
fucking
wrecked.
proud of you.
Sit down, bitch. Sit
By
down.
saying allegedly, that
the
means
most,
that
the most trivial
are-
point of all time made by
no,
Tasteless.
this is what they are saying it happened. Now, Michael was assuming that because it is in the research, then that happened. That is the difference, right? Because they can claim that they gathered this information, but it is also the case that it is possible that they actually invented that data and say, "Oh, yeah, we gathered this information." That is also possible.
So now he's just saying that it's possible scientists could have manipulated or
Of course, this is why
created fraudulent.
allegedly
And
means.
you're also
yeah.
saying that it's
Right,
possible that all of these
well,
peers reviewing this study.
Michael is assuming that actually happened.
Conspiracy.
Wait,
Like he's
let
And
Hogan
since
finish.
Michael doesn't have any
Let-
proof that that
let-
happened,
Let
all we
let
have is the
Hogan
trust that he has in this instance.
it's like just a
Let Hogan
Look, the point is just what the fuck are you doing, Landon? Look, the point is just gonna be to say there's a process by which.
Why am I talking to you, Pogan? This conversation is with Disciple.
Well, because it's a public room.
Because
right?
you won't let me fucking finish, so maybe
There's a-
you'll let
there's
somebody
a-
else talk.
there's a
I
process-
finished, man. Answered
All
my
right,
goddamn.
look, now you're just being like ridiculous with the over talking. Look, there's a process by which those things are reduced in likelihood to the degree that they're negligible, right? This idea of scientists putting forward fraudulent data or manipulating studies to fit a certain
We don't
purpose,
know.
right? That's what we do, right?
There
That's
is
what
too much evidence.
God
to
damn it,
go
dude. That's what,
against new scientists.
dude, chill. Just for like 1 minute, right? That's what peer reviewing is for, right?
Yes.
There are certain processes within the scientific community specifically in place to reduce the frequency and likelihood of these things
A
happening.
false assumption.
Like
How is
there
that
are
a false
double-blind
assumption? Wait,
There are double-blind studies
How is that
where
a
people
false
are given-
assumption?
Let me tell you
Well,
why.
yeah, and
Let me tell you why. Let me give you the argument, Poga. Disciple, don't now listen. If you didn't take the opportunity to have this conversation with me, and you see that you,
you're gonna let me talk.
no, you can see that you're
No, you're
fucking
gonna let me talk.
voice to
You're gonna shut
Poga,
up.
and I am
You're
going
gonna
to
let me
answer to
talk, and then I'll
Poga,
let you
and then we can continue this conversation. Poga,
No,
it is the
listen,
same
you're
thing
gonna
as
let
you
me
saying
talk.
the
I'm gonna
following.
finish, and then you're gonna talk. That's how conversation
You need
works.
to let Disciple make his point.
Okay, Disciple, go ahead and make your point.
Okay, thank you. Now, in peer-reviewed studies, there are like he just said, there are contingencies in place to reduce corruption, right? So there are double-blind studies in which somebody
Supposedly.
is given. Shut the fuck up and let me finish.
Allegedly.
There are double-blind studies in which somebody is given the wrong information, the wrong data, the wrong protocol, and if they come to the same result, well, then guess what? Then we know that they're cheating. But you know what? That doesn't happen.
Supposedly. Now, listen. I am going to answer the both of you.
What?
One same answer is going to serve, to
What do you
answer
mean
both.
supposedly, dude?
Okay, listen.
Do you think we're lying?
Whoa. So, no, I'm not talking about you lying. I'm talking about what they're supposed to be doing, and he's assuming that
What you're
goes
talking
on.
about is a
Now,
conspiracy.
I'm sorry. I'm going to make my case. Please don't fucking interrupt.
If you're going to make a case for this, you need to call into InfoWars because I'm not going to.
No. I'm going to make the case. So, listen, man. In the same way, we have Twitter, for instance, right? And Twitter has
What's
a
he
feature.
talking about now? Is he just going on again all night?
Why are we talking about Twitter? What are you doing?
You will know when I'm done. So Twitter has this feature that when you like a video or a tweet, you go ahead and hit the like button.
I love Ray
and then
so much.
A little
What kind of
heart
Twitter are you talking
will
about,
turn on red.
Jesus, can you send me a link to this Twitter account? Because I want to read it.
We can
Can
actually
you send it to me?
get to the same
Go,
conclusion.
Jesus, send me that Twitter account. I want to read it. Hit me up with that Twitter account, buddy. Give me some of that
with
Twitter.
many likes, many hearts in it.
Yeah, I got a heart. You got one, buddy?
We assume,
I got a milkshake.
hey man, it is
Hi.
obvious that
What's
this
obvious?
tweet was liked by many people. And
What
I
people?
would say, yeah, man, but that is what.
Yeah, that's cool.
But that is what the feature is for.
Ray.
I mean,
Yeah, no, he's cool, dude.
whenever
I
they
like
like it, whenever they like something, they hit it.
What do you like, buddy?
Now, the only
What?
problem with that is that
Go
these
on.
honest
These are good
actors
points you make.
know this, and they are able to hack the system and to actually
Sure,
pay
I mean,
people to push a
fuck, I ain't
particular
got time to
tweet.
do it all night.
So
but I
they
can do
will
it for at least the
fucking
next 5 or 10
inflate.
minutes if that's
They
okay.
will fucking
What's up, buddy?
inflate this tweet. So
Well, let
in
me just
the
turn you
end,
down a little bit. I
you get
don't
the
think I'm putting you
same,
down
the
low
same
enough.
things. So if you
I
work
turned
under
him
the
down. It's
assumption that you
nauseating.
trust Twitter,
yeah, he's
and that
like
you trust
at,
the process of
Well, the thing is,
what it
that
means to
I'm
have
not
this
even sure it makes any
Like,
difference if you hear him or not at this point.
liking button. And
Like,
you would say, no, it is obvious
have
that many people
I have the
like
potential
this.
to be a real asshole,
It
but
is not
I've really,
obvious.
really tried hard
Because
to
if
get
you
him to
were
understand
aware
his
What's that,
of
Gavin
the,
McInnes?
dishonest actors and how are they utilizing
Jesus, I'm
the
trying to hear
system to
Gavin
get
McInnes talk. Can you let the
benefits
guy
from it,
from
then you will say, hey
Rebel
man,
Media
I'm
talk, please?
skeptical. Maybe this tweet has a lot of fucking likes, but I don't know. Maybe it is the case that people like it. Maybe it is
Look,
not.
I like it, Jesus. I
We
like
need to
everything
be
you're saying,
skeptical
buddy. I
about
think you
this
should
in virtue
calm down,
of the
buddy.
evidence that we possess that the process
Calm down, buddy.
act
It's okay.
in a way
It's
that
okay.
is
Jesus, I missed all
He
that.
just
Can you say it again?
You guys thought I was fucking bad when I
Jesus.
just like.
Jesus, I missed the.
He's the
Jesus,
only
I missed
one
the
mad
first-
about this.
You
I
are
missed the
bad.
first 5 minutes of that. Can you just say that again? Because I missed it.
So this was
you
an
just go back
exhibition
in?
of people, they knew that they were going to be proven incorrect, and
About
they
incorrect
decided
about
to
what, Jesus?
obstruct and to overtalk me.
About what?
And to prevent me
What
making
I'm
are
not
they
even
going to be
asking you, buddy.
proven
I'm just
wrong
talking
about,
to you.
Tasteless?
certified,
Hey, Tasteless,
because they
hello.
know they're wrong. And since I am bringing this thing,
Somebody.
this analogy,
Right,
I'm not sure he
is
can
very
even hear. I think he's
powerful
just
and very
got the volume
compelling,
turned down on his
they
computer.
feel the need to interject to
Jesus, can
break
you
the
hear other
fucking
people,
flow
Brett?
of the argument I'm proposing.
Tasteless, do you have everyone in the room muted?
No, I have no one.
What explains why
Do you
you
believe
just...
that your skepticism of the peer review process is a healthy level of skepticism, or do you believe that you're too skeptical?
No. Oh, thank you very much.
What?
So you believe it's a healthy level?
Anyone that's disagreeing with Tasteless should watch that Veritasium video that I posted, that he posted in the chat, because he articulates what Tasteless is incapable of properly indexing in terms of false positives, degrees of sample size, and so forth. It's very well put together, and it kind of justifies where Tasteless is coming from, I think, where Tasteless then is just on an emotional tirade beyond that, trying to articulate a similar point, but
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
so-
And Tasteless has backed himself into a corner to where he has to admit that he doesn't know if his own mother loves him.
No. The reality is the following, Lucky. I am aware of the information that comes in the process in the video, and all I'm saying is there is plenty evidence for us to be skeptical about the research that is coming from these.
Skeptical, yes.
That's all the claim I'm making, Lucky. I'm
No, I
not
know.
trying to
Skeptical, yes,
to say why peer review.
It's okay to say allegedly, but at the end of that video, I put at
Cam,
10
can you
minutes
mute,
and 15
please?
seconds, it suggests that everything that Michael and Disciple are saying also have a justification, like a huge justification.
I'm not trying to dismiss any review process,
allegedly
research. I am not trying to dismiss any of it. All I said was we are warranted, and if the correct stance, given all the problems with the process, is to say allegedly, and we would be
I have
more
no problem saying allegedly.
We would be closer to reality. That instead of us assuming that this process seems
So we're back to like the point that was made 15 minutes ago, where we said that scientific papers and studies, when they make certain assertions or conclusions, right, the fact that they're allegations and aka not certain, right, that's we're back to that point that was already made like 20 minutes ago.
So Tasteless, whenever, like, I no problem saying allegedly, and I promise in future conversations with you, when referencing a study, I will most certainly say allegedly to avoid this, but it is not necessary to say allegedly, just like he said that it is implied.
Okay,
for anybody who understands
now
the process.
Acknowledge the problem with the processes, and then you now acknowledge that most of the research you might talk about, not only the vanity ones, but in general, are problematic to a certain extent, to the degree that we might be skeptical about the results.
Nobody's contesting that the scientific process is flawed,
as a way
right?
of illustrating a particular
we
point.
should discredit all scientific assertions because of potential flaws, which isn't rational.
It's not the scientific
It's so
study
nice
that's
to
the
see
problem.
you guys
Even in the articles
backpedal to
that
this
you
degree
cited,
to accept that.
Tasteless, these
Listen,
are articles that these are articles that you cited. If you're going to use these as
Tasteless, you're gonna get a look. You're going into full retard mode.
these are your arguments. These are your citations. So if you're going to use these as arguments to support and defend your position, I suggest you familiarize yourself with them.
Okay, let me ask you something, Disciple. So now you're not defending the fact that these institutions are trustworthy and that the checks and balances in place are, nowhere near. Listen, nowhere near the level to cause people to be skeptical of the results, right? You now acknowledge.
I am saying that I'm saying that it is at a level to which you should not be skeptical to the level of which you are.
Oh, to which level I am? To say allegedly, motherfucker?
It's not necessary to say allegedly or motherfucker.
What do you mean it is not necessary? It is necessary because many people think that if a thing is posted, published and peer reviewed, then it is necessarily the case because it is been proven and peer reviewed and corroborated that this particular conclusion is the actual case. Many people
whenever you say
that. So don't give me shit because you were under the same assumptions.
Say that you are a
now
man,
that I provided all the evidence, now you say, oh no, but they're not making any assertions, man. They're just suggestions that they're making.
Fine. That's fine, Tasteless.
That's
so
fine.
But I
Is microphone shit for everyone else, or is it just? I mean, it
in
sounds.
future conversations, Tasteless, that whenever you claim that you're a man, or that your mom loves you, or that the sky is blue, that you say allegedly.
Yes.
Well, it depends, right? If
it does not
depend.
depend, it depends upon
it allegedly depends.
Framework.
Depends. Let me tell you why.
Why?
So what standard do we have to meet? Is there a standard that we meet in which we can say that something is we shouldn't be skeptical about something?
Listen, man, there are things that can be corroborated.
Is there or is there not?
Yes, yes.
Is there a
Let me
standard?
fucking finish. Yes.
Okay,
I'm
what
going
is
to
the
give you
standard?
Okay, the standard is if you can have proof for it. So when a person is saying something, many times, oftentimes, they can make an argument that actually proves what they're saying. And many times, oftentimes, you have witnesses that can corroborate this shit.
If
So
you say
at
prove,
that point,
when you
it
say
is
prove,
not
what do you mean?
allegedly. At that point, it is just
I think
fact of the matter that is accepted as such.
Okay.
However,
Tasteless, what
we
do you
need to
mean by
clarify
prove?
something with Tasteless. We need to
Prove.
clarify, Tasteless, what papers claim to prove anything?
What?
Do I have to
Well,
ask the question?
some papers claim they proved a correlation between events, and this correlation is what is being published on many.
What does it
not
mean to
only
prove a
academic,
Prove a
not only
correlation does not make any sense
the proof
whatsoever.
of the
You don't know what you're
proof-
talking about.
Tasteless. What
The
does it mean
proof-
to prove a correlation, Tasteless?
Well, it means that there is a particular probability based on different
which is not a proof. Which is not a proof.
What does it
Proof
mean?
is not based
What
on
does it
probability.
mean? Tasteless, you're not understanding the question. What does it mean to prove a correlation?
What do you mean?
I'm starting to think that the handle
I thought it was
opinion was already taken.
So if you have
straightforward
if you
question.
have a data, JJ, if you have data, right, that
How do you
maps
prove a
on-
correlation?
Well, you prove a correlation by measuring or comparing two sets of data, and if those two sets of data present the same behavior when it comes to patterns of patterns of data, right? They correlate in some way.
Wait, but
so
you don't need
at
to
that
prove
point,
that, right?
if
You
the
just need to
patterns,
This is
establish
just
if the patterns
awful.
match,
This is
But
like
you don't-
terrible.
But there's
This
nothing
is
else
actually
match.
embarrassing.
if
This
the
is
fucking-
actually
So what are you
embarrassing.
skeptical about?
the
Tasteless,
patterns
this
of
is
data
embarrassing.
Are you
match,
skeptical about?
then you are
it seems like
proving a
you're skeptical
correlation
that
there.
so it seems like you're skeptical that they analyze this data at all. Are you saying that they're
Am I
just coming up
fucking
with these
over
numbers
talk
out of
when
thin
I'm in
air?
the middle of giving my fucking response? If you're going to do that to me, I'm going to do that.
You
to
have been
as
doing
well.
that to me. That's why I'm doing it now.
That's false. I wait for you to fucking finish, and then I go ahead.
All
and-
right,
Yeah, it's,
stop
it's
with the
the other way
meddling.
around, Tasteless.
Hey, you know what? You're
interrupt
right. I'm
everybody
sorry. From now on, I will
else,
do
so-
that. I apologize.
Tasteless, you interrupt other people, so they feel like they have to interrupt you.
That's incorrect. I am very respectful to this individual.
What a
and
fucking
when
lie.
Listen, man.
Tasteless.
Before,
fuck?
even in the
Can I ask you a
beginning of
question?
this, listen, man.
We can get a good
you're
few
doing it now,
hours out of
disciple.
whether or not
At
Tasteless
the beginning
interrupts
of this
after the thing
conversation,
about
No,
the
I
peer-reviewed
was
papers
talking
if you
I
want.
stated something, and Michael ran away
We
like
can
a
do that one
bitch,
again.
and he started talking to disciple, telling him to ignore me and shit. And this happened, right?
This is embarrassing. Wait. Let's get back to the. Wait. No, I want to hear JJ's question answered. What does it mean to prove a correlation? Dumbass.
So the idea is.
Tasteless, hold on a
that if
second.
you're
Like,
going
what's
to-
going on? What's going on with your audio today? Do you have like some sort of bad headset or something? Why do you sound like garbage today? Can you just fix it?
What do you mean?
You sound
to-
like
What do you mean?
you sound like garbage today, more than usual.
But-
What's the difference?
Yeah, garbage. But what does that mean? Like, is it
If-
too loud? Is it
Si
too
te
low?
puedes separar un poco del micrófono, just step away from the mic because you're distorting a bit. There you go. Just away from the microphone and you don't distort.
Okay.
Yeah. So when you shout, it'll be fine. Thank you so much.
May I ask you a question, please?
So, I was going to answer JJ.
Can we just get a quick over talking test now that you've sorted your microphone out? Let's just see if you can still over talk with the same volume. Go ahead, Tasteless. Start over talking me.
So the idea
ahead,
was,
the
the way
overtalk
that you can
still
prove
go,
a
guys. Go.
correlation is if you have two different patterns match. If data is matching patterns of behavior.
That's what a correlation
then
is.
then that's when you prove that there is a correlation between data.
Wait,
What's
why
the
does that
problem?
involve proof? You just defined a correlation.
What?
So
The proof is
No,
if
let him
data
answer the
matches
question.
and the patterns are the same, then that proves a correlation.
Okay, but if
So
somebody
when you
publishes that
say- when you s-
information if somebody publishes that information in a
not
study
gonna do
and
this, are you?
and somebody reads it, is that still proven? Like, can we still say that it's been proven?
Of course not, because first of all, we would
Okay,
need to
no.
corroborate that through a
Corroborate what?
reproducibility.
So what you're
That's
saying is the
corroborate
only way
what?
that we can know if a
Second
study
of all,
Corroborate what?
if those
Corroborate what,
correlations actually
Tasteless?
suggests, listen,
What are you talking about, Tasteless?
A causal relationship between two events, because correlation is not the same as causation, right? But this would be evidence.
Causation.
Nobody's
talking about causation, Tasteless.
Sometimes as evidence for causation. So that's problematic, right?
That's not what we're talking
that
about.
Is
problematic. Like your claim is that
as evidence for some causation, right? It is problematic because it would need to be proven or at least reproduced in a way that gives us trust.
Yes.
The things that we assume the process should be like, there actually should be, be conducted in the way that we hope. But the problem is that it is run by human beings, and human beings, they have biases, they have expectations, they have motivations.
Sometimes they have pizza, sometimes they don't.
Economical motivations, sometimes prestige motivations and shit. So the fact of the matter is that the process itself is so flawed.
Proving correlations.
All that we can do at the end of the day is when we are using these studies as a point of reference to say allegedly. That's the correct stance.
Allegedly what?
But that we again.
Allegedly what?
Whatever the study is claiming, that is just allegedly.
Yes, that's
so the problem here. The problem here is that Tasteless is saying papers claim to prove something. That's a big problem with you, Tasteless.
No, the problem is for people to assume that because it is the result of a peer review, research, then therefore it is the actual case. And many people do this assumption.
So
don't fucking lie to me and say, no, but it is implied that they're just suggesting. No, you fucking idiot. You're citing the process as a way to gain trust for you to feel confident to say that's the actual case. Why am I being fucking overtalked, dude? You said you were not going to do it, and then you did it again.
You're not saying anything, Tasteless.
Look,
and what you are saying,
I am saying something. And if you're going to interrupt me, you're not going to know what I'm saying.
Hold on, disciple.
And you're saying shit that can be summed up in 10 seconds.
Look, let's explain the issue, right? He's now saying that because people look at certain scientific conclusions and they say, this is the case, there's no way it couldn't be, that the researchers and the scientific community have a burden to make it abundantly clear that those conclusions are not certain by presumably using the term allegedly. That's his claim.
No. That's not the claim,
that's the problem.
You're saying
that is the problem, Tasteless.
No,
your
that is not the problem.
Your claim is also
Tasteless.
No. This is not what your claim is that any study claims to prove something. That's a problem.
Yeah,
no, I didn't say that. That's a strawman of yours.
Oh, it seems like that's your assumption.
I asked you
though,
what.
Is it not?
It doesn't seem shit. Tell me how.
I asked you straightforward. I asked you straightforward, Tasteless. What papers claim to prove anything?
And I said many papers claim to have proven a correlation that suggests it is the basis for causation.
What does it mean to prove a correlation?
I already told you, you stupid idiot.
No, you didn't. You just
stop bothering me.
Look. No. Hold on.
Wait, real quick, please, Tasteless. What do you believe is the purpose of these peer-reviewed scholarly studies? What do you believe is the purpose?
Okay, disciple. I know what the intention of this process is. The process is in place to try to minimize, the problems of actual, manipulation, data manipulation, or scientists lying about shit.
Hang on. You're
Why am I being fucking interrupted when I'm answering your goddamn question?
Because you're getting it wrong. You're not answering the question I asked you. What I asked was about the studies, not the process. So why are these studies being written? What is the intention behind performing these studies?
An actual truth of the matter.
Okay.
To identify patterns that are we're basically studying reality in a way that we are searching for constant variables that are not variables, that are constant, that affect the outcome when particular situations are in place. You will get the same outcome.
That's perfect. Okay, now would you agree that if other people can take that data that's given there and not being told the conclusion, and they come to the same conclusions, is it safe to say that is a reliable study?
What do you mean? I didn't follow.
So say for instance, if somebody wrote a study that said dropping a 50-pound sack of concrete on your head from 100 feet will kill you, and 100 peers perform that study and they all come to the same conclusion, is it pretty safe to say that dropping concrete on your head from this height will kill you?
Yeah, it is. So what's your point?
My point is that the more oversight, the more checks and balances you have, like the peer review process, the more convincing it is. So like if I was to say that dropping a 50-pound bag of concrete on your head would kill you, you'd be like, I mean, it might. But if I was to tell you that somebody performed the study and then 50 other people repeated this study and got the same conclusion, that's a little bit more convincing, is it not?
Oh, yes, it is. Assuming they were conducted.
Would you agree that that scholarly studies and the methodology that is implemented in these reliable journals, in these accredited journals, prestigious, so to speak, would you believe that their methodology is more reliable than somebody making baseless assertions?
No.
Why?
No, I wouldn't. Let me tell you why.
So science has no play.
If you were to
let him answer.
let him answer. If you saw the video that I posted, where Derek Mueller is talking about these things, you would know that once a process becomes so corrupt that it is a way for you to gain access to fame, money, and prestige, you will sometimes misuse the fucking system, right? To actually come up with bullshit. Listen, actually come up with bullshit. Just in virtue of the fact that bullshit is more, let's say, if you come up with some particular lie that is unbelievable, such as the chocolate
I get what you're saying, but
that they made.
The question is,
they made no. Let me fucking finish it. They made a claim that if you ate chocolate, you were going to drop weight. That the study demonstrated that it was the case. That if you ate chocolate, you were going to drop weight. This is what the claim studied. The study claimed.
Right.
I'm sorry, man. I have to go. No, I'm sorry. I have to go. I thank you for the conversation.
If you have 50 people that perform that study,
yeah, fuck you, dude.
Yeah, Jason, you suck. You suck, Jason. Bye bye.
Okay, thank God. Fucking hell.
All of that.
Only have yourselves to blame.
I agree. I'm a glutton for.
How many times do you have to explain to a guy that science doesn't say things are certain?
Science
they understand.
is inductive. Could have fucking.
Yeah, before they understand that science doesn't say things are certain.
He really needs to have a YouTube channel. I've never seen anybody so talented. He can deep throat a mic and sound stupid at the same time.
He does have a YouTube channel.
He does.
And Disciple, when you read that paragraph of that paper, I thought the author caveated the science so well at just that paragraph that you read, and I thought Tasteless would give over to that, but he didn't. He even said that was bullshit, and I thought, God, the guy's not giving you guys any credit, and he's just wiping away science
early on for an example of a study that posits its conclusion as an objective conclusion, and he kind of ignored it. It seemed.
Yeah.
Well, so how about the Yankees?
This is Michael's fault.
Oh.
Well, I still
actually had to go back to my room from the kitchen to say false.
You're entitled to your opinion. I'm just messing with you.
Of course.
Oh, Zaximum isn't here. That's unfortunate. I was going to ask him a question.
New guy's name is Jim, not Kyle. Just wanted to clarify.
Correct.
Hello, new guy.
Are you talking about Jim Majors? He's not really new.
No.
There are 27 people currently watching the live stream.
Well, if you ask me, I don't think it's wear and a tear on a hen's ass.
What?
What?
Landon.
It's not Landon.
No. Really?
Who's Scoobert?
Something he would say, though, Tom. You know that.
Who's Scoobert? Anyway, there's almost 30 people watching. Now, it's not Steve McRae numbers, right? And it's never gonna be Steve McRae numbers, right? But
sweet.
but it's not bad.
Look, somebody should at Steve McRae and be like, "Yo,
Perpetuity.
re-up us, bro, in perpetuity."
Perpetuity.
Oh, that's fucked up.
Jim, you know Steve the best out of anyone in the world. How do we get him in here? How do we get him in here to talk live on air with us?
Wait.
What I would do, the best thing to do would be
Jim is saying Jim
somebody
from
saying that that are atheists, and then send it to him and with a link.
Did a light bulb just go off in
Oh
your head,
my
Michael?
God. Yeah,
Michael,
that did. Sorry.
You just have an epiphany about Jim being the same Jim from Non-Sec?
Yeah, my bad. Sorry.
Tom, which new guy were you talking about?
Yeah, that's a good idea. Hey, Steve, someone's in here saying that
Yeah, get that
atheists
Gandalf-looking
lack belief.
motherfucker in here.
Yeah, let's try it, guys.
Wait, but Jim is not Jim Majors, though. Like, to clarify, because now my
Yeah, handlebar, baby, handlebar.
Oh, fucking hell, man. I've been nice to you? Fuck you,
his
Jim
avatar.
Majors. Fuck you.
Yeah.
You know what? Just so I'm on record. Wait. Just so I'm on record, fuck Jim Majors. Okay? Fuck that.
Where did he
Oh
hear
shit!
you?
What did I miss?
Oh, man,
Oh
Bruce.
fuck! What did I miss? I don't know.
Oh, dear.
LARPing as a good person. Fuck you, Jim.
No, wait. What do you have against me?
Michael really hates alpacas.
He said you have stolen valor or something, right?
He says he caught you selling wool
Stolen
mixed with
valor?
alpaca.
Fucking LARPing as a good person. Fuck you, Jim Majors.
Well, I thought
LARPing is a good person.
the lack of fatality may have tipped you off. That wouldn't.
So what happened with Jim Majors, Michael? What happened?
Yeah,
Well,
please
he's
tell
an
me.
idiot. He needs to shave. He needs to shave his fucking face for one. We also need to introduce him to shirts with sleeves. There's two. And also, we need to introduce him to what epistemology is, so he doesn't sound like a complete idiot.
He also could,
I
you know,
We're gonna
hold
fix
off
you.
on
We're gonna
interrupting
fix you, Jim.
a whole bunch.
We all know.
Oh
what he
well,
should
I think you have a different Jim in mind. I almost always wear long sleeve button ups.
That's an answer.
No,
That
if
Jim-
you're-
Are you the Jon Snow looking one or the Gavin McInnes looking one?
yeah, no, that's Jim Majors.
Yeah, you've got the right Jim, Michael.
What an asshole.
Oh, fuck.
This is
Well,
like
I mean,
when the Legion
if you
of
liked me
Doom broke
before,
up.
but now you hate me because I wear tank tops occasionally, like I don't get it.
I mean, it's quite a good reason to hate someone.
I mean, sure, but I mean, if I did it all the time, but it's like very rarely.
But what if your mustache and your upper lip makes me want to punch you in the face?
No, that is not Jim Majors, by the way. I've got tattoos that would.
It's okay, Michael. He won't kiss you.
Look, I'm
this
I'm
is
down
Jim
for
Majors.
kissing. Look, I'm down for like I will out homo him, out homo any other
He
heterosexual
won't
on any day.
tickle
But
you,
this
though.
guy,
It's okay.
By the way, guys, if,
no, I
if
don't
the
think
mods,
he's a threat. I think he's like no. How is this the same
JP
Jim Majors?
found their way in here though.
Well, what do you mean? I don't. What do you mean? Is there somebody out there like who's like sullying my
Oh my
name?
god.
Tom, what were you
Cam,
going
wait.
who
We
you
can
are.
wait. We can just all like settle this shit. Cam, are you there? Cam?
It's not there.
Oh,
Here's Jim
he's hiding.
Majors.
Cam is
Tom, what were
server
you gonna
muted.
say?
They're like, I'm staying the fuck
Yeah, I
out of
said
here.
if the mods can help, because when new people join, they go immediately to Majestic Mayflower, and they seem to like just stay there until I move them almost always. So maybe they're new to
Okay.
Discord or something.
Hey,
So
Well, no, I'll tell you why
I
that's
would really like to know
happening.
that.
The
May I ask a question?
Can I just finish
Hey,
speaking one
okay.
second?
I just don't
The
know how I
reason why
got.
that is happening is because the invite that you post
Yeah, I
on
know.
the videos.
I'm
is
just
linking
saying that
in
I don't think they know how to like move around once they get
Oh,
here.
okay, fair enough.
So just
Sure.
move them into the main room.
Hey, could I ask a question? I saw that somebody I knew, Jim Majors, was on your stream. I clicked on I clicked on the invite.
say
and I
hi
came
to
to
Jim.
Discord. Okay, I came to Discord. I didn't come into the room. I was like sending somebody a DM, and then all of a sudden I was in this
Right.
room.
Oh,
How
that's
did that
what
happen?
happens when you click
Yeah,
the
you
link.
were dragged in here.
Right. Would you like to speak to Jim Majors for some reason?
Great question.
No, I said I
Jim,
saw that
go
there
ahead,
was
bud.
a stream. I saw that there was a stream that had his name in the title, and so I just went to check it out. I saw the Discord invite in the video description, so I clicked on it to join a new Discord
Right.
server.
Step
And then
two,
I'm in
step three, step the
sending
process.
some DMs, and all of a sudden I get dragged in here, and I just am
No
wondering
idea.
why.
No idea. But so
No idea.
Is,
You just like
is Jim the sort of person you like his content? JP.
Yeah, I like Jim's
Do you
content.
know about Steve McRae?
I know Steve McRae too.
What do you think of him?
I consider him a friend
This
of
isn't
mine.
about Steve, though. This is about me.
How do you know Jim Majors?
He's also a friend of mine.
God, why did you guys let me be nice to Jim Majors? Why?
I didn't understand it either.
I'll never forgive you.
Hold on. Wait a minute. Somebody engage me. Let me respond to that. Why wouldn't you want? Why wouldn't you want to be nice to Jim Majors?
The new guy's gonna talk.
Well, I'm just asking why. Somebody said why did you? I mean, maybe he was joking, but he said, "Why did you guys make me be nice to Jim Majors?" I'm just asking.
There's a social dynamic. That it was a joke, and it was just like sailed over your head.
Well, it's still over
Well,
my
that's
head
what I.
too.
Well, and here's the thing. And here's the hold on. Here's the thing. If you had been listening,
All right,
to me,
wait, guys. Jay Pete's gonna talk, guys. Wait a minute, just a second. Let's all huddle around. Jay Pete's gonna talk. He's gonna give us the
only
whole
way I'm going to
thing.
talk is if you stop.
All right, guys, stop being hyenas.
I'm sorry. It'll only take me like 10 seconds, and then you can go back to being.
Yeah, go ahead, bud. Yeah, go ahead, bud.
No, as I said, maybe it was a joke that I'm not, that I don't understand. So I prefaced my statement by saying that. So yeah, I allowed for that contingency.
Yeah, we're done with that part.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jay, do we know you by another name?
May I ask Michael why he doesn't like me?
It's
like
no.
It's irreducible. I want to Superman punch you in the face.
Like
it's
irreducible. I was Jim
Nobody
Majors,
cares.
and now all of a sudden he has a problem.
It's just some joke or something.
Jim,
I guess,
it's
so.
actually
Jim,
better
I've
that
let it
you
slide
don't care.
that you don't remember who I am. I mean, I really fucked you over early on. Then we had a long talk about coffee, and then you claimed to not remember
I know.
me. And I said, that's
figured that
fine.
out.
I don't care if he doesn't remember. Maybe he's just pretending to be a different person so that he can just avoid all that conflict. And I don't care. Don't care. I want to know who the fuck J. Pete is. Has J. Pete been on Steve McRae's live shows? Because his voice sounds a little familiar.
I love
J.
his
Pete
voice,
is the new
by the way. I just want to say he sounds like a fucking football coach. Boys, we're gonna go in and we're gonna get it done. And I swear to God, this is gonna work. I swear, I'm hiking my pants up for no fucking reasons, and I'm wearing a whistle. Pete, where are you from, bud?
I was born with this whistle.
I am a resident of planet Earth.
Oh.
No, we don't do the memer thing. We don't do the memers.
We can't ask somebody to dox themselves, though, can we?
Oh my God, we're just asking for a Google Plus sort of history.
There's just a whole whole lot of better answers than that.
It's just so funny that I
Not
couldn't
really.
take it to go
JP,
now.
JP, yo,
Boy, I
buddy.
can't even get a fucking sentence out of my mouth without
Wow,
somebody.
I mean, I'm not sure if that was a sentence.
Jesus
Well,
Christ! Can you
we would
believe
like
it?
to avoid worthless sentences.
JP,
I mean, that's why Discord rooms full of like 107 people fucking suck.
yeah, that can happen. JP,
Yeah.
what's your username on Google Plus? Do you hang around with Steve in the live hangouts on screen?
I've been on some of Steve's hangouts. I've been on
you've
the
done a
Raging
rum and
I've been
coke.
on some hangouts with the Raging Atheist. I've been on my own hangouts that I have once a week.
You're a famous guy.
That's probably where they. You probably have subscribers in this very room.
Okay, guys, let's
I
let's.
I have zero subscribers.
All right, let's test this guy's story.
You sound like a older, more angry Cirrus.
JP, you ready? Let's see if
More
you
angry
are.
Cirrus. That disconnects.
I'm gonna see if you are who you say you are.
I don't find Cirrus to be that angry, actually.
Right. I mean, that's why I said more angry.
Well, more
Do
angry.
you deny that? Do you not? Do you deny that Cirrus has anger? Do you deny that Cirrus has anger?
This is going wrong.
More
This is so
angry.
really going wrong.
I'm just gonna keep
I'm
talking
doing
until I
this
can
on
finish my
purpose,
sentence.
BB.
More angry.
Yeah, we're gonna get down to
Alright,
it. We're
let's
gonna have a
not-
little
let's
huddle
not do
about
this.
my feelings. Go ahead, bud. Go ahead.
Look,
Nothing to do with my feelings. I'm just saying, if you say that somebody is more angry than another party, then you are implying that party is angry.
Do you deny that Cirrus has anger, sir?
Wait, you don't think it's the case that somebody who's angry is more angry than somebody who's not angry?
Are all like the heavy hitters chiming in? What's
ridiculous?
Yeah, this is ridiculous.
All right. I'll
JP,
disengage. I'm sorry.
Yo, JP,
That's what Thanksgiving
God
dinner
damn.
is with some of you fucking people. I swear to God.
You're
Thank you
involved
for your
with the
contribution.
great debate community, correct, JP? I'm wondering if you have run the hangout that's streamed on the Great Debate YouTube channel.
I do a stream on the Great Debate Community YouTube channel once a week on Saturdays.
Called it!
Oh shit.
Thank you.
Okay. Same guy.
JP,
And it's
my
not real
God.
hard to figure out. My name's
Can I be
John
heard?
Peterson. I said I used JP on Discord. It's not a real hard extrapolation to make there.
Layla no nurse, Layla no nurse, mic check 1 2 1 2.
All at
Stands to
once.
reason.
Why all at once? What's wrong with all of you?
Can I be heard?
Sorry, Joe. My bad.
There's blood in the water, Sunseed.
I can't be heard.
I can hear you, Tom. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
We can all tell that the sharks attracted to blood.
Tom, were you gonna
Why
say
is there
something
blood?
earlier?
Yeah, I've been trying to. Can I be heard like okay, or am I like super quiet or something?
I can hear you.
No,
I can hear you,
you have
Tom.
the floor, Tom. Go ahead, Tom.
Wow, that's ridiculous. All right, whatever. Yeah, let's just test who you are. What's the definition of atheism?
God, I was hoping we could hear more from the football coach.
That's what he's asking.
Yeah. What are we gonna do as a community when Kyle fucks Steve? Where are we gonna go in the future? Okay.
What was that now?
All right. If you could just, you've been asked a question, JP.
Oh, okay. What was that question? I'm sorry. I was otherwise engaged.
Repeat the question, please, Tom.
Yeah, what's the definition of atheism?
Oh my God. Yeah, no, we're not going to have this conversation.
What?
What do you mean?
I thought.
I'm not that much into beating dead horses.
Dead horse? Well, you're implying that.
But you're a fan of Steve. Of course you're into beating dead horses.
Shut up. You're implying that
Jesus,
this question
JJ,
has been
fuck
answered
Christ.
definitively, then, right, Jay?
Not at all. Words have usages, and people have the right to use words in the fashion they wish to. That's my position.
Well, I guess then there's only one proper way to interpret the question, and that's to give your definition of what atheism is.
I identify as an atheist because I believe that no gods exist.
Oof. There we go.
Good answer. High five,
Way to
JP.
stand up. Yeah.
Actually, you'd have to give me a high 4. I'm missing a thumb.
Very interesting.
You can't hear me,
Interesting
Michael?
response. It's hard. Either you're cutting out or you're. I couldn't hear you if you were talking for the past minute, Tom.
No, I wasn't.
Now I hear you.
Okay.
He lost his thumb in a tragic cuddle.
You are
now I hear you.
No, actually.
Yeah, I'm not speaking though.
Actually, I lost my thumb. I lost my.
I was talking about. Jesus Christ!
I lost my thumb. I lost my thumb.
Calm
I lost my thumb.
I'm talking to Tom. I'm talking to Tom.
I lost my thumb. I'm gonna get this fixed out. I lost my thumb fisting your mother.
That was worth interrupting people.
Yeah.
Tom, sorry. I'm sorry, brother, if I talked over you.
That's okay.
I had to refresh.
I refreshed too, so it might have been me. JP, see the problem is that you've given us this story about your friends with Steve and blah blah blah. But you couldn't ask a simple question that someone who was friends with Steve surely would be able to answer, no problem, right?
Well, hey, just because you consider someone a friend, does that mean you are in line? You are in line with every single thing they say and
It's
do?
not a mess.
Yeah, that doesn't
It's not a question of your beliefs being in line, right? You could disagree with whatever definition, but I'm asking you, what is the definition of atheism? What is your definition?
I answered it like 5 fucking.
No, you didn't.
Wait, no, he did. He did answer it, Tom.
What was his answer?
The belief that no gods exist.
Okay.
Yeah, and I would expect your answer to fall in line with Steve's, because we've all seen what happens to people who disagree with Steve.
Yeah, they get lynched.
What happens with people that disagree with Steve?
I told you.
Oh, they get unfucking friended. That means you are no longer a friend of Steve's.
Jesus.
Disagree. A couple of years ago, I was what some people affectionately call a rock atheist.
Who is?
Hold on. Wait a minute. Hold on. What was just said is total unequivocal horseshit.
Yeah, that's what I was
Why,
trying
Coach?
to explain.
Allegedly.
Michael, you're really loud. Can you please? Jesus Christ.
because I have disagreed with Steve on more than one point, and we're still friends. I mean,
allegedly.
Oh, thanks for the anecdotal evidence, asshole.
Well, same here. That's peer reviewed.
You guys are fucking annoying.
That's irrelevant.
You know that, right?
How you
Yeah, you guys are.
This whole allegedly like, shut up. It's not funny anymore, dude.
I mean, it's still kind of funny.
Well, not funny.
I thought that was a funny callback.
It was allegedly not funny.
Well, I mean, look.
Like,
I mean, if you disagree with Steve on, like, you know, what's the best flavor ice cream, it's not gonna dump you. But if you disagree on something like,
okay, but I was a rock atheist.
Oh my God! People are talking, so stop! Don't talk when they're talking.
man, just like animals in here today.
Okay, so I was a rock atheist a couple of years back, and Steve didn't.
That's not a cue to continue, dude. He was in the middle of
there
talking.
was a silence, and you didn't start.
Look,
so
all right.
the
So
cue that-
the point is that if you disagree with on something like atheism, right, the definition of atheism, that's not going to be something that he's just going to let slide.
He did say that he thinks people can hold their own definitions of atheism. I wonder if he's confronted Steve about that.
That's alleged.
It's a good question.
Shut up! Oh my God,
Have you confronted Steve about this? Excuse me. Have you requested an audience with the king about the definition of atheism?
Who are you talking to?
You asshole!
Jesus.
Oh, I'm DMing P. I'm sorry. I'm not paying attention to a worthless piece of shit like you.
Oh wow.
Well, he called me an asshole. He called me an asshole, so I just thought I'd give him back his star.
Wait, this isn't really productive though. Like, is there anything like that that is intended to come out of this?
Are you guys like tag teaming?
What is
like,
happening?
No,
Yeah,
I'm
who's
talking to
who?
everybody. Like, what is the intention in having this
To
conversation?
get the answer.
Okay, so can we get the answer so we can be done with it?
Quick as possible.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
We're waiting on JP, dude.
What was the question? Can you repeat it so I can answer it?
I fucking hate you. I really just.
Hogan, shut up.
Wow.
Jay, would you answer the question if it was asked by somebody you don't think is a piece of shit?
Well, I apologize. Like I said, I was trying to send somebody a DM. Are you asking me the atheist question again, or what are you asking me?
He said, have you confronted Steve about your belief that people can have whatever definitions they want for things?
Well, why would I confront Steve on something that he himself believes? I'm not following this. Okay, Steve has said and has always said people are able to use whatever labels they want. All his argument has ever been is that in certain certain corners of discussion, academically or philosophically, here are the prescribed definitions, but that doesn't mean that those definitions carry through in
That's a really
Let him finish.
right. That's a really
Well,
poor
no, I mean,
way of putting it.
I kind of petered out. That's pretty much,
All right.
that's good right there.
I mean, I think we all know what you're trying to say, and I think you're wrong. That's his position, because what you're saying then is if people.
Well, I guess should I believe you or should I believe my lying ears? Should I believe you or my lying ears?
I'm going to explain to you why you're wrong, because when people use the word atheism in the context of something like academia to mean something other than what he thinks it is, he disagrees with them. He will say that they are wrong. Now, those people will insist that even though within the context of philosophy or academia, whatever it be, that their definition is different from what he thinks is established, he will call them wrong. He will call them probably other things and unfriend them.
Am I supposed to respond here?
Yes.
No,
you
you're
can
not.
agree with me now.
No, you're not supposed to respond though.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I don't. There's really no other response other than, I see. You're right, JJ.
Can we ban JJ?
Yeah, no.
So the only other option is to disagree.
Yeah,
I mean, I take your silence as agreement. Otherwise, you would disagree.
Then since you are taking my silence as tacit agreement, then let me break my silence, okay? I haven't experienced what you've experienced, and I'm not going to deny you, having experienced what you've experienced. So I can only go by what I've experienced with the man.
Are you one of his Patreons?
No.
That's good.
As a matter of fact, I just for the first time 3-4 days ago became a Patreon for the first time, for the first channel ever. Okay, because the way it's been for me up to this point is there's so many content creators that I follow. I'm just not enough of a man of means to be helping all of them out. But one particular gentleman that's new on the scene has touched me in such a fashion that I did donate $1 a month to him, Patreon /Sokka account. So just remember that. Go to Patreon /Sokka account. He's the newest. He's the freshest content creator on the block. You got to go check him out.
Sokka's fucking old news.
Sokka? Yeah, no. But here's the thing. He's rebooted, man. I'm telling you right now. He's just the hottest fucking thing out there. You got to go check him out.
I
Yeah,
heard he
Sokka
had a big falling out with his partner on Deeper Than Dogma. Apparently they were 50-50 in perpetuity, but something happened.
You mean purple titties?
Yeah, but Steve doesn't just say, "Oh, a lot of people in philosophy use this definition," and that's it. He thinks that people ought use his definition.
Yeah, it's I've never heard him say that, but okay.
What? It's got an entire PowerPoint presentation on it.
Right, but when did he say
80% of his hangouts are.
When did he say that everybody ought to use his definition?
When appealing to authority.
I mean, are you looking for a timestamp or something?
Seems implied.
If what you're trying, it seems like you're under the impression that Steve is simply making like some sort of empirical claim as to like X and Y use this definition. You think that that's all he's saying? You think your friend has been saying that like for hundreds of hours and like dozens and dozens of hangouts, like almost like every single time he's on the air, just to say, hey, these people over here are using this definition? That's what you think he's been doing?
Sorry, I left. Are you still talking to J. Pete?
Yeah.
No, I heard him. I was finishing typing up a sentence to somebody.
Oh, okay.
So, well, no, I mean, and really, when it comes to this issue, like you might remember my response when you first brought it up. I didn't want to take part in this particular discussion because even like the other day, Steve put out like a little 3-minute, 4-minute, like kind of like what I would call like a tutorial video on this agnostic atheist, definitional argument, and I wish he had put that out like 2 months ago or something, and then that would have been say that's the end of it. But apparently it's something that people want to keep talking about, and apparently it's something that Steve wants to keep talking about. But I myself, I was actually done with that conversation like way over a month ago. I mean, to me, it's just, what's the point of discussing it further? I mean,
well, people seem to be confused about what atheism means still.
Who seems to be confused?
Giovanni, there.
People who use different definitions. Now, you say that Steve says people can use whatever definition they want of atheism. That might actually be true. But I don't think he's going to say that they're using a different definition correctly. He's going to say that if you say that atheism is something other than what he thinks it is, you're wrong.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and sure, I could be wrong, but my take of the situation is that what Steve has been saying all along is that if you're gonna, have discussions, in the realm of philosophy and academia, that this is the definition you should be using, but in any other areas or any other I don't know what phrase to use, any other walks of life or colloquially speaking, then you can use whatever definition you want. I mean, because, as far as I understand it, and again, I could be wrong, I'm nobody special, but like a dictionary definition of anything isn't prescriptive. It's just telling you usages and, groups of, okay, like for instance, Anton LaVey started the Church of Satan or the Satan Temple or whatever the fuck it is, however many years ago, and he co-opted the word satanic, and they're all atheists. But before that, if you were a Satanist, you were someone that worshipped Satan. So there's an example of where a term was adopted by a certain group, and now it has a different meaning. So. I just, to me, that's all it is. He's saying, and whether he's right, wrong, or indifferent, he's saying, hey, if you're having a discussion under these specific umbrellas, here's how it's defined. But if you're going to, have the discussion outside of those specific umbrellas, then you can define the word any way you want. I mean, that's how I take it.
That's not what Steve does. That's not what Steve does. Steve says there's a conceptual issue with using it the other way. He's saying you can't use it the other way.
Right. He's making a prescriptive claim.
In other words, an ought.
He's making a prescriptive claim within certain contexts, not in all contexts.
No, no, he's saying that there is a right and wrong way to use the term. Do you agree with that?
Within the formality of philosophy. If you disagree, Steve says cite the paper that states it another way. He's not going to take a colloquial or definition use. I think Pete's pretty straight up here.
I mean, the other thing is you just made a statement and then you said, do you agree with that? And had you been listening to me prior to your statement, you would have discerned that I don't agree with that. So I don't understand that.
But you also don't think Steve is making prescriptions when he definitely is.
Well, no, I think what I said that he is making prescriptions within certain contexts. So again, I think maybe you might want to pay attention to what your interlocutor says before you respond.
I'm not certain that you're understanding what the objection is. Could you summarize the objection for us so that we understand that you're actually responding to what we're talking about?
I don't know what you guys have been talking about for like 25 minutes.
There's only one way you can really clear this up tonight, or else we're gonna go nuts, and that's to get Steve in here. So can one of the great friends of Steve that does one of his podcasts, that being Jim or Jay or Pete or whatever their fucking name is, just get him in here. Obviously the guy's not busy, he's not doing rum and coke. Talking Shit Tuesdays on, he's obviously not gonna be watching that. Just get him in here. Come on, someone get him in here. Please get him in.
He won't come in here.
He's been here. I'll ask him. Hold on a sec.
Jovan, when can you play?
Joe, I think this might be a momentous occasion if we can get the McRae in here. I don't think you're really gonna want to fucking.
Wow, we can actually get the king himself in here. Wow, man, that'd be.
I'll play McCree in Overwatch in honor.
Well, what's better, right? Talking to Steve McRae, right, or taking 5 key members out the room to play some bad game of Overwatch where you're not even gonna fucking pick like anything to do with the main meta of the game at the moment, right? You're just gonna pick characters you like the look of or something dumb. Come on, Joe, you don't want to do that.
I won't take him out of the room.
McCree is a good character.
Yeah, McCree's all right. I think
McCree or McRae?
It's McCree, but we call him McRae in here.
Yeah. Tom, did you get a response from McCree?
I just sent him a message. Nothing yet. Says he's on though.
The last thing you said.
You have to message him on G+, and it's
or on Facebook.
There's too many black belts in here. I don't think he would come in.
Too many what?
Black belts.
Can we afford Steve speaking?
Is he?
Tom, you want me to message him on Gmail, or you think we're sending too much?
I already sent him a message on Gmail.
Oh.
Actually, if you've got him on Twitter, he said lately that Twitter DMs is the best way to reach him.
He did say that. That's true.
JP, why don't you go ahead and send that Twitter DM and get him in here, man?
I think the lack of super chats available might.
Oh
yeah.
Yeah, Steve doesn't enter a room unless there's a super chat directly tied to his bank account.
Tell him Kyle's in here talking magic.
Well, who here would like to speak on or still man Steve's agnostic definition relative to atheism?
I can actually summarize it. I can actually summarize it really quick. It's that belief that not P is not equal to not belief that P. That is the entire summary of his like hour-long PowerPoint presentation.
That is true.
That is his distinguishing between agnostic and atheism.
Wait, say that again.
Not belief that P is not equal to belief that not P. It's in his PowerPoint presentation. I can send it to you. That's like the conclusion. That's like his whole point. Here, I'll type it out in chat.
McCree's ultimate is cool.
Yeah, that's what I recall.
All right, I'm gonna tag Tom in this, and if anybody thinks I'm misrepresenting Steve's argument, you can tell me.
Oh, I suck.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I agree.
That's all he's saying. But then he goes further, like you said, to say that you have to use atheism in the way that's found in the philosophical literature. So, like anybody who's using atheism to say that, let's say,
not belief in P.
You know what's funny?
Belief in P, right?
You know what's funny is that DD has the exact opposite view. He believes that not belief in P is equal to belief in not P.
Correct.
No.
That's right. Yeah.
What?
What are you talking about? No,
Yeah,
JJ.
DD does. EF does. Yeah, he does.
Wasn't he the one that was pushing the whole lack theist?
Yeah,
because
no,
that's what not belief in P is the lack theist position, and belief in not P is atheist.
He used to accept lack theism as atheist. You know, when he's talking to atheists, well, because I talked to him as a lack theist originally.
No, he used to say that you weren't an atheist unless you believed in not P, and otherwise, if you had a not belief in P, you were a lack theist.
Well,
and you couldn't call yourself an atheist.
He accepted people calling themselves lack theists and argued against that anyway. But right now he says that agnosticism is incoherent.
Well,
because they're right, well, I could give his argument, but he says agnosticism is incoherent, and he also says that lack theism is now he started saying that it's something that atheists are like hiding behind.
I wonder if damn. I was gonna say we could get Steve McRae.
I tend to agree that atheists are hiding behind the lack theism.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
What do you have, Tom?
It'd be cool to watch them debate about the definition of atheism.
Fuck me.
I agree.
I'm gonna swallow some fucking Kool-Aid.
It'd be fucking hilarious. It'd be no. Chum is actually correct. He used to do like the lack theist thing, but he read this book called The Myth of Religious Neutrality, which he cites constantly now. And now he was all on board that, you know, not a belief in P is equal to belief in not P. That's his conclusion now. It's the exact opposite of Steve McRae.
So he's switched then. So I thought that he was using that to show, to bolster his position that agnosticism didn't make any sense, was incoherent.
Well, what he thought was this idea of like the myth of neutrality was that agnosticism was an admittance of not having knowledge. And so he tried to use that in his conversations with agnostics to get agnostics to admit that they know nothing. Right, because for DD, the ultimacy of reality is God, and if they don't have a position on it, then they have no ultimacy of reality. And so he's grounding God, or he's grounding everything in God, and that's a presupposition of his. And so that's why he used to run the whole lack theist shit.
Yeah.
Penis just means that if you don't have a belief that, say, you don't affirm that God doesn't exist, doesn't mean that you assert that God doesn't exist.
Correct. Non-belief does not equal atheism.
Oh God.
Non-belief.
Here we go with this guy Jim again.
It's
Well,
I mean,
well,
if
yeah,
you
I
don't
wanted
want me
to
to
know-
respond, just
I
tell
wanted to
me,
know-
and I'll go into a different server because like,
I'm
I don't want to
just
go somewhere where I can't talk.
buddy. I'm just fucking with you, buddy.
Okay.
Just
This
relax
is the
there,
Michael
Jim.
effect.
He's not your buddy,
I-
pal.
JP, JP, what
Hey, we
brand
don't.
of atheist are
This
you?
isn't blue politics, sir. Please.
I'm not your pal, chum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
JP.
What?
Yeah, we all love South Park. What
Yeah.
flavor of atheist are you?
What flavor?
He's already
I don't know.
answered
Why don't you come over here and taste me, and you tell me.
Hey,
Come
Jay,
on now. You know what I'm. You know what
such a man.
We can drop all the hostility now. I'm just curious. Are you the
That was
one that
hostile?
affirms?
Probably taste. Probably
Are you-
taste like
are you-
incel.
Are you the one?
No, like I said before, I identify as an atheist because I believe no gods exist. Now, I don't assert that no gods exist because it's an unfalsifiable proposition. I could never show you that no gods exist.
Well, when
and
you
all.
say, well, that's ridiculous. When you say that you believe that no gods exist, you're asserting.
No. I'm asserting that I believe in God.
No, that's a great counter argument, bud.
I'm asserting my assertion is that I believe no gods exist. But knowledge is a subset
Right.
of belief. So I can believe something without having actual knowledge about it.
Are you
Why
just
do you
saying
believe
that
it?
you?
I'm sorry. Why do you believe it?
I'm sorry. I'm gonna ask stupid questions.
I believe that no gods exist because I have examined the evidence and I find it.
So you just lack a belief.
No, I said that I have examined the evidence for God and I find the evidence lacking.
Can I just quickly ask
Hold on, let me ask me a question. He asked me a question. Let me answer his question, okay? Okay.
Ooh, feisty.
Everyone's so thirsty.
You disbelieve something that also entails a belief. So if you say I disbelieve in God, you are also saying I believe God does not exist. So no, it's not a lack-theist position. I think that the lack-theist position is nonsense. Not nonsense, but it also entails belief. If you lack a belief,
Right.
it entails a secondary belief.
Yeah,
Belief about belief.
Yeah, I don't think it's a nonsensical position. I just think it's weak.
Yeah, that's.
I think Joe wanted to ask him something.
Yeah, let Joe go.
I don't give a shit anymore.
Oh, come on, Joe. Don't do that.
Steve McRae has replied to me. Hey, JP, and I said, hey, do you know this guy named JP? And he says, doesn't ring a bell. That's what he said.
Yeah, because my name's John Peterson.
fucking
Like I
wrecked.
told you like 15 minutes ago, my name's John Peterson. JP's just my Discord nickname or handle.
Coach Pete.
That's funny because I
Whatever.
just talked to Steve and he said that nobody named Michael has texted him today.
Are you sure it's not HPV?
Positive.
Why would somebody named Michael text him today?
It was Tom who texted him, not Michael.
Oh,
What
my
the
bad.
fuck?
I just fucked that up, didn't it?
That was.
Yeah, that was awful.
Jesus.
Deep breath, Joe.
Is that Jim?
All right. So you believe that no gods exist. Why do you believe that?
Okay, I'll repeat myself for the third time. I've examined the evidence for God and I find it lacking.
What would evidence for God be exactly?
I mean, it basically boils down to argumentation. I mean, there's no empirical evidence for God.
And you know that how?
Well, so you say.
No, I believe that to be true.
I'm down for some empirical evidence of God if somebody has some.
Look, can we just choose a champion? Like, let's stop this shit, right, guys? Like, let's
I don't
just
wanna
choose a
do this.
champion.
Could
What do you
somebody
mean?
else do it,
You're the winner. Okay.
Well, I want somebody else to do it though. Is there no one else?
JJ, you're literally got your hands on the wheel, and you're like, I don't want to be driving the car.
It's true.
Come on, JJ, shift up the gears. Let's go.
The fact is that JJ
Go.
loves driving.
Come on, JJ.
I just found the most interesting man in the world in your voice chat here. I would like to hear from Sir Penis Tooth.
Hey, what's up, man? I'm just listening.
The fucking greatest name I've ever seen in my life.
I'm still actually confused on,
Penis is great for a lot of reasons.
That's true.
Perhaps you could explain to us how you discern what evidence for God would be or not be.
Okay, Steve McRae says that John Peterson is my friend. He helps run the GDC channel, which is even more odd that you don't understand Steve's position on the definition of atheism.
That I don't understand Steve's position. Yeah, could you run that back to me when I said I don't understand Steve's position?
Yeah, you don't understand Steve's position on the definition of atheism. Do you want me to run it back again?
Peterson?
Yeah, I don't ever remember indicating that I don't understand his position.
You said that he's merely saying that person X or person Y in a specific field should use X or Z definition. But he's absolutely making prescriptions about.
Those words you just used never came out of my mouth. So swing and a miss, Tom. And by the way, Tom. By the way, I love you, dude. I'm sub to your channel. I love your fucking.
Why is he doing this? Why is he doing this?
Look, I didn't say that it was verbatim a quote. I was paraphrasing.
Well, yeah, you weren't even really paraphrasing, but that's okay.
Well, I want to paraphrase.
So if he wasn't paraphrasing, was he quoting?
No, I mean, that's not a dichotomy. Paraphrasing and quoting, it's not a dichotomy. I mean,
well, what do you think he was doing? Are you accusing him of being dishonest?
You could speak. Well, shit, I've been accused of being dishonest about 15 fucking times since I got here. So
I don't really give a shit about that. I'm asking.
Really? Did anybody use? Hold on a sec. Did anybody use the words that you're dishonest? Uh-oh.
Yes.
Yeah. Who?
Not the exact words, but that was implied.
Oh, that's so. I guess what did you say? What did you tell me? What did you tell me when I didn't get it exactly right? He's like, those words never came out of my mouth or something like that.
Right. And then you said you were paraphrasing me, and I said no, you weren't paraphrasing me very good.
What does it mean to not paraphrase someone very good?
It means that a quote and a paraphrase are not the only two options when you are trying to communicate what someone else said. I mean, I don't know what else to.
And that's how it's done.
Jesus
I don't
Christ.
even. Jesus.
So, what you're espousing, Jay, Pete, John, just call you John, is literally lacktheism. You lack a belief because you haven't seen evidence. That's literally, you are a lacktheist.
No, I don't identify that way. You can
But
you can infer what you want from what I say, but that's not how I identify myself. I have a belief. I believe that gods do not.
Well,
exist.
if you subscribe to Stephen McRae's definition of an atheist, then you also acknowledge that you have a burden of proof as an atheist.
Which I've met in like more than once because I've been asked to repeat myself like 3 or 4 times.
Wait. What?
My burden of justification for my belief that no gods exist is, and here it is for the 5th time, I have examined the evidence for God and find it lacking. That that meets my burden of proof, my burden of justification for my belief.
Yeah.
No, that's a lacteous position, Baji.
Actually, wait. Actually, one second. How is your position different from lacking the belief in a God? I mean, you have to look at the formula again. It's not a belief in a God. You're espousing the belief in a not God, correct? That's the atheist definition, the hard atheist definition that you're using. How is what your position you're describing is different from the not belief in a God?
Okay, because like as Jim said, the lacteous position is just a weak position. Okay, and you're right. If I say I believe that no gods exist, hold on. If I say that I believe that no gods exist, just like if you say I lack the belief that gods exist, it entails a belief. Well, it goes the other way. I say I believe no gods exist, that entails a secondary. Well, I lack belief in gods, as you're putting it.
Oh my God.
Pete, can I ask you a question, man? You're saying that based on the evidence that you've reviewed, you've basically found that it's not very compelling, I guess. But I'm curious, is it just like the arguments that people make about God that you've like looked over and just not been convinced by? Because that's what I think of when I think of like evidence for God. It's just the arguments that people make.
Well, right, because you're absolutely right, because the only evidence for God that exists is argumentation. There is zero empirical evidence for God.
Well,
So
people say that they have personal testimony of God's preaching into their lives or whatever.
Yeah, that's not empirical
I would take that
evidence. That's
testimony as
anecdotal. That's
well,
not empirical.
So you're also saying that something
call that
doesn't exist if you don't have
Wait,
access
let
to
Chum
it.
go. Wait. Let Chum.
Speaking of
Chum finishes.
You're speaking of special revelation, and that's an unfalsifiable claim. It's not
Well,
evidence.
not specific. Well, I guess special revelation, sure, but I mean the same. I would call that empirical evidence still, because the same thing can be said if somebody says that they saw a comet pass by that only passes by once every 4 billion years or something. I would say that's evidence, even though that's anecdotal evidence. That's still
It's
empirical
anecdotal.
evidence.
Right, it's anecdotal. It's not empirical.
But that's what it means to do empiricism, to observe it, and then you just say that I've observed this, and that's the anecdote of the empirical evidence, right? So I would just say that is evidence, because they're saying
Right, but how does that translate to anybody else? If one person saw the comet, it may be empirical evidence to that sole individual, but how does it translate to empirical evidence for anybody else? It's only anecdotal
Well, look,
beyond the individual.
you could be skeptical about the truth of what they're saying, or like whether it really happened. But all I'm saying is that I would still call that evidence, because there is somebody that's
Right.
claiming that they've had
I'm agreeing with you. It is evidence, but it's anecdotal evidence, it's not empirical evidence. And it depends on what the claim is. Like if you say, hey, I saw a dog in my backyard, well, chances are, 99.9%, why would you lie about something like that? Yeah, I believe you. You saw a dog in your backyard. But if you say, you know, I believe in this God that, zaps a fucking chocolate sundae to me every morning when I wake up, then I'm going to want more evidence.
Well,
I'm
that's
going to want more evidence than your anecdote,
I don't think that's the kind of things that people say when they say that they've had experience with God. They're like, well,
Tantamount to what I'm saying.
I was having a hard time, and I prayed to God and I got a job, or I prayed to God and somebody gave me some money, or I prayed to God and you know um my relationship got better or whatever.
Well, and you know what? It's funny that you bring up that particular, anecdote type of anecdote, because those are some of the weakest anecdotes ever. I mean, uh, how about all the people that prayed for help and got shit on? I mean, nobody ever brings that up. I remember like
how is any of this relevant?
I remember like 14 or 15 years ago there was this huge tsunami that hit the coast of India, and I think upwards of maybe 1 million people died. And there's this.
Relevant though.
Well, if you let me finish, then you'll see the relevance. I'm going somewhere with
Well, this is your fault, Sean.
So at the time, one of these talking heads that was on a morning show, she said, "Wow, thank God Jesus was looking out for me. I was supposed to travel to that region, but then something came up and I didn't go. God was really looking out for me. So God was looking out for her, but fuck them other 1 million people. So prayer, prayers being answered means 0.
Wow, prayer's crazy, right?
That
Wait.
seems
begging the question still.
The other thing is,
maybe she was just
look,
more important for God.
look, if you think that it's unfalsifiable, why are you demanding evidence?
Well, if it's unfalsifiable, there can't be evidence.
Oh God!
For it.
Right.
So if he said he's looked at the evidence, then that's just a false claim. That's kind of interesting.
Jay? JP?
What's that now?
Any idea?
Jesus.
I got this. So
Oh, Jesus, I hate.
No, you don't, chum.
Okay, go ahead, Joe. Sorry.
Look, if you think it's unfalsifiable, why are you demanding evidence?
And saying
When did I demand evidence?
You're saying that you haven't seen evidence, and that moves you to be an atheist.
Okay.
But if it's unfalsifiable, there can't be evidence.
Well, no, there could be evidence because God could reveal himself to mankind.
The thing with it being unfalsifiable is that everything would be evidence for it. But if everything is evidence for it, then nothing's evidence for it. So
how is
there's not going
everything
to be
evidence for it? Wait a minute.
Do you understand what unfalsifiable means?
Yes, I do understand. I'm wondering if you do. Just because something's unfalsifiable doesn't mean that everything is evidence for it. I mean, that's
Look,
nonsense.
if it's unfalsifiable, that is what it means. It means, well, that's exactly what it means.
And 1 second, Jim, John, you made the claim that there was not any evidence for God. Now you're saying there could be evidence for God?
No, I said that I believe no gods exist because I've examined the evidence and I find it lacking. And as far as
you did say there was no evidence.
Sorry, go ahead, Joe.
Right,
Sorry,
there is no right. I said there's no empirical evidence for God. Show me a stick of empirical evidence.
So you are
God.
making the claim that there is no empirical evidence for God.
That's a category error, right?
How is it a category error?
Well, the issue here's the issue, Trump. This is the issue. He's saying that it's unfalsifiable. But if something's unfalsifiable, then you're just saying you can't have evidence for or against it. You're just saying if you can't have evidence for it against it, then why is he saying, well, why is he making a big deal of the fact that he hasn't seen any evidence for it?
Well, he's actually making a deal of examining evidence. That's what he said. He examined the evidence and he finds it lacking.
Right, and when I qualified it too by saying that the evidence that I've examined, it's all argumentation because I mean nobody has ever shown, here's God, or here's
but
here's God,
that's not
here's God's
You're
morning turd, which proves he exists. I mean, or whatever. I mean,
right, you're asking for arguments, right? You're asking for an argument.
I'm not asking for anything. I'm just saying that I've listened to just about every argument out there, and I just don't find it. Most of the arguments boil down to most of the arguments. Most of the arguments. I'm gonna keep going to you. Let me finish my sentence. Most of the arguments, okay, to a certain point, make sense and are logical, and then it seems like at the end of the argument they always tack on "therefore God." Not in those words, but that's the gist of it.
So the thing is that you're just asking for an argument that's persuasive, right? That you feel that has a justification. You're not asking for evidence, right? You're asking for so pointing out it's unfalsifiable is
no.
What I'm saying.
Okay, hold on. It's unfalsifiable that I could ever disprove God's existence, okay? But the unfalsifiability of God's existence could be fixed in a second. All God has to do is reveal himself to mankind. If he's all powerful, he has that ability.
Wait a minute, but that's to say,
God has
wait
done
a
that.
minute. Wait a minute. That's to beg the question. That's to say that God hasn't done that.
Correct. Okay, I'm part of humanity, and he hasn't revealed himself to me, so therefore he has not revealed himself to all of humanity.
Wait,
Wait, what? What? That doesn't follow. That's a non sequitur.
I just said I am. Wait a minute. Am I a member of humanity? God has not revealed himself to me. Therefore, God has
You
not
said all
revealed
of
himself
humanity.
to all of humanity.
Even if
Because
he
I
did,
am,
that's
I
a
am
non
part
sequitur.
of the group. I am part of the group of humanity. And he has
Jovan,
not
fix this
revealed to me.
moron. Fix this
Ergo,
white bill.
he has not revealed himself to all of humanity. I mean, it's not hard to figure.
No, it only follows from that he hasn't revealed himself to you, dumbass.
Okay, but again, I am part of the group that constitutes humanity. So
oh
if
my
he has
God.
not hold on. So if he
Does
has
somebody
not
has to
revealed
explain
himself,
set theory to
so
this
if
dumbass?
he has not revealed himself to me, ergo he has not revealed himself to all of humanity because I am part of that group.
Yeah, okay, but it doesn't mean that he hasn't revealed himself. That's what you're supposed to be arguing against.
No, I said that the way that the unfalsifiability of God's existence could be fixed is if God were to reveal himself to all of humanity.
So you're saying that it is falsifiable then? Which is it?
Are you listening to me? Are you serious?
I am listening to
I mean,
you.
You're just trolling me. All right?
So you're
Okay.
saying that
Because
there
I
is a
said
state of
no.
affairs
So,
that could obtain that would be evidence against the God hypothesis. That means it's falsifiable.
Listen. I said that for me to disprove that God exists is absolutely unfalsifiable. I could never show you all of reality and prove to you that God doesn't exist. But the unfalsifiability of God's existence can be fixed in a second if he was to reveal himself to all of humanity.
That's so vacuous. It is unfalsifiable unless it's falsifiable. That's such fucking
We need to
ridiculous.
clarify what he's trying to say.
If you say it's
is it falsifiable or is it not falsifiable?
If you say it's unfalsifiable, even if God were to show himself to you, that's irrelevant because that still isn't proof to you. Unfalsifiable means that there can't be any evidence. God showing himself would still lead you to problems like epistemic issues, which is like, is he lying to you and such that you still have the unfalsifiability aspect, even if he shows himself to you.
I can accept that. I mean, if I'm using terminology wrong, I can accept that too. I mean, correct me.
You're using the term atheist wrong.
Yeah, well, whatever.
No, you are. We can go back to square one. How is your position any different from the position that you lack a belief in God? No, you do have to. Because you're saying that you believe, because you are saying that your position is that you believe in no God, not that you do not have a belief that there is a God.
Why do I have to? Why do I have to?
What? Why do you have to do what?
He said I have to go back. He said I have to go back to square one and start over. Why?
Because it's apparent that you don't understand what you're saying. And you've already admitted that if you are misusing terms such as atheism, which you assert is the belief in no gods, you are not espousing that position. You are espousing the position of the lack of a belief in God. I don't know why you're talking and not listening. It would do you good to listen more.
Slow down your cock holster for a minute and let me get in here. Look, the thing is, I said if. There's a word. There's that little two-letter word. If I'm using a term incorrectly, I'm not using atheism incorrectly. I was saying, maybe if I'm using
no, you are.
Correct. Well, no, I'm not. I mean, you can say it as many times as you want.
No, you are. Well, I can show it.
Well, you can't show it.
I can show it to you. I've tried to show it to you.
Well, but I don't care.
Oh, so you don't agree with Steve McCray?
The way I want. You use it the way you want. I'll use it the way I want. How's that?
But you're espousing. You're actually claiming to use the term atheist to mean.
I told you what my belief is. I didn't espouse.
that's
I told you
espousing.
what my belief is. I told you what my belief is, and you.
Yeah, you're espousing a belief.
Okay.
You're espousing a belief.
Okay.
Okay. Do you want to
You're
use the
right.
word espoused incorrectly also?
You're right.
Yes, I'm often right. So
No,
the position you're saying,
sometimes you're right.
the position you're saying you hold is
Right.
that you believe, with a
That no
positive
God-
belief that there are no gods, correct?
Right. Yep. Correct.
Right. But what you're actually describing is the lack of a belief in gods.
Okay. It can't be both.
Do you think that those are the same thing or two different things?
If I believe that no gods exist, I lack the belief in God. I mean, that's just the one entails the other. I mean, what aren't you understanding? Maybe we could go back to square one and you'll understand.
So you don't agree with Steve McRae then?
Could we go back to square one for you, and then maybe you'll understand
Answer
better?
the question, and then we'll go back to square one.
Because as I heard a moment ago, you're often right. So I mean, maybe if we go back to square one, you can.
Can you
up
answer the
your
question?
percentage.
Can you answer the question?
I answered the question.
So you don't agree with Steve McRae?
I mean, as far as I know, Steve McRae, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, he says that atheists
Trying to
believe that
correct
no
you
gods exist.
because you're wrong.
Atheists believe no gods exist. That's the definition of atheism he uses, isn't it?
Right. Why do you believe no gods exist? Because you lack a belief in God? Yeah, you're saying that you believe no gods exist because you lack a belief in God.
You're not an atheist according to Steve McRae, guy.
Okay.
Look, you're not an atheist according to Steve McRae. You're an
Okay.
agnostic.
Okay.
I just
You can
want
call me-
to just
call me whatever you want.
Just
Call me
insert
whatever you
briefly that all of this could be avoided if you would all just embrace pantheism. Hashtag pantheism.
Also, I would like to say that how do you examine evidence for a claim which is unfalsifiable? Anybody? Just anybody. Okay.
Well, so
all right.
okay,
Joe, whatever the fuck your name is.
Wait. Let me respond to that. So you're saying that you believe that because something is unfalsifiable, that it is necessarily unfalsifiable always. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, that's where your disconnect is then.
Okay, so what does unfalsifiable mean to you?
Wait, if something is unfalsifiable, it's unfalsifiable.
Right.
Always.
Always.
Right, it's either unfalsifiable or it's not. And if it's unfalsifiable, it's unfalsifiable.
I disagree with all you guys.
Yeah.
Wait, why? Why? Like, what's your understanding of falsifiable, guy?
Well,
my contention is that the reference, when you're referring to items in the world, it's a lot different than referring to the God or referring to non-empirical entities. So that the context of falsifiability shifts. Hence, a contradiction of both falsifiability and unfalsifiability, if posited in a claim, has a shift in context. And I think J. Pete has showed how in one case he says it's unfalsifiable, and then you guys pressed him on it, and he says, well, in this other speculative case, let's say it's this. And so this isn't in reference to a vehicle, like I believe my car is outside, right? So the context of whether or not something is of a God category or of an empirical category takes on two different roles. That's my contention.
So
sorry, Mike. I didn't know.
Mike, so Mike, I was trying to explain. It seems like just using the term unfalsifiable is just not the term he wants to use, right? You're saying that he's using that term just in a context where you're not dealing with anything empirical, but the way to say it is just like you have no justified reason, or you haven't heard an argument that convinces him that God exists.
Yeah, I mean, and again, like, you know, if I could be under the wrong impression of what the terms mean. I mean, I'm nobody special, and if I'm coming off snarky, you know, or acting like JJ, you know, sorry for that. I'm not trying to be like confrontational, but I just like when I say unfalsifiable, I think more of like how like when theists have said to me, "Well, prove that God doesn't exist," and then for someone to prove that God doesn't exist is unfalsifiable because there's no way you could, you know, examine all of reality and prove that God is nowhere, you know, anywhere in reality. You know, so like that prospect is completely unfalsifiable. But then, like, if I apply that term to the proving that God exists, then I guess you guys are right. Like, I, I, I guess it is falsifiable in that,
No,
you know,
it's
I make
just
that
that's a
stipulation if God
different.
revealed himself to everybody, then that would, you know, like if he was revealed himself to somebody, or if somebody was able to show you God, you know, then that would falsify.
No. This is the issue. The issue is you could say like, in terms of like in an empirical realm, God's unfalsifiable. The issue that was people were bringing up is if you're saying he's unfalsifiable, then it's weird to you know then demand evidence for God, right? So it's fine
Well,
to
I
say
mean,
it's
I'm not necessarily.
unfalsifiable, but someone could still
Yeah.
demonstrate, you know, give an argument, you know,
I
that's
mean,
something that's not in the empirical realm. Give an
yeah,
argument that you
right,
think
and I can see where I can see where you can, you know, what you're saying, because I guess I did, now that I'm thinking about, you know, what I was saying earlier, I guess I did in a fashion demand evidence for God because I said, show me a God, you know, or show me evidence for God. But the fact of the matter is, I mean, if there was empirical evidence for the existence of God, um, wouldn't, I mean, it would have to be like natural, you know. I mean, right now the concept of God is considered supernatural, so I guess if there was any evidence of it, then all it would be in the natural realm. So unless science came up with some way to examine the supernatural, I mean, oh, it is, I mean, when it comes right down to it, it's all very confusing to me, really, is what it boils down to.
look like the idea of just evidence is like um, right, you can think of it as evidence is just anything that raises the probability of a hypothesis being true, right? So you don't have to worry about getting into this weird swamp of naturalism and something being supernatural. You could just ask, like, look, what would we expect to see given this hypothesis, given the God hypothesis? As it turns out, I think you ultimately think that there's nothing that would be evidence against the God hypothesis, which means it's unfalsifiable, right? But you don't have to get into like these murky waters of natural versus supernatural. Just merely demanding evidence is all you need to do.
Yeah, I mean, my apologies. My internet crapped out for like about 20 seconds there when you're
Don't worry
talking.
about it.
Yeah,
Don't worry
but
about it.
like the thing is, okay, like when you brought up like people having these anecdotal experiences or the special revelation, yeah, I mean that is evidence. I mean, you know, the word evidence, it doesn't have to be good evidence. It can still be evidence, okay, but it's a matter of whether, you know, like, okay, in the case of special revelation, that's really convincing evidence to the person who believes that they got that special revelation. But, you know, as I said earlier, that's not going to translate as evidence to certain other people. I mean, people that are already believe the things that someone who receives special revelation, if they already believe the things that that person believes, then they might not have a hard time accepting the fact that this person receives special revelation. But if somebody is already skeptical, or uh, you know, people that are atheist, I mean, they're not going to accept when someone says God talked right to me. You know, to them, they're not
Well, you're cutting out for me too.
going to be
I'll be right back.
evidence for I'm just saying that the special revelation isn't going to be good evidence for everybody. It might be good evidence to a fellow theist.
You're cutting out.
Well, no, I stopped talking. I stopped.
Well, you're roboting a little as well. But JP, could you perhaps indicate to us what you think might be evidence for a god?
You know, and honestly, that's a tough question too. And somebody alluded to it earlier, right? And I've been saying, well, hey, God could reveal himself to all mankind. You know, like if all 7 billion people all of a sudden, you know, were shown this image of God, he talked right to all of us. But the fact of the matter is, I have to admit that if something like that happened in my life, I think the first place I would go to in my mind is, wow, where's this alien from, and how did he get all that? You know, how did he get that advanced technology to be able to do this? You know, I mean, so there might not be any evidence that could convince me. I mean, I was a Christian for 35 years, by the way. I haven't always been an atheist.
Sorry to hear that.
Why were you a Christian?
Well, when I started my life out as a Christian, because that was what my family did. When I was just a kid, and I went to church with them, and you know, you get indoctrinated into it. And
I see two ways to
Yeah.
Christianity.
Why did you believe in God?
like I said, it was just, you know, it's the same thing as why I believed in Santa. I was a kid. I went to church with my family, you know, and you just get indoctrinated. You're part of the
Well,
group.
I don't know how it's the same thing. I'm just asking, why did you believe in God?
The church wants you back, brother.
Shut up. Shut the fuck up, sugar.
Sugar. Little dick. Sorry.
Do I have to ask again? I'm asking, why did you believe in God, John?
Yeah, Jay, I'm not trying to be an asshole. I answered that question twice.
I didn't hear.
How has your life gone since you began?
Shut the fuck up, sugar.
JJ, I think he's just saying that he was never introduced to anything as an
Oh,
alternative.
everybody else answer for him. That'd be a good idea.
I don't know. Why don't you yell at everyone? 'Cause that will make everything better.
Well, I shouldn't have to.
I think JP might like to talk to Sugar. Definitely somebody that he would enjoy being.
Yeah.
Since you became an atheist.
Hold on a sec. I just have to ask one question really quick to JP. Alexicon, please mute. JP, since you seem to acknowledge that the atheist has a burden of proof, and you co-run the Great Debate community, do you know?
I don't co-run.
Whatever.
That's what Steve McRae told me. He says you help run the Great Debate community.
Help.
Oh, fuck.
Does not mean whatever. I have a stream once a week, but okay, go ahead.
Robot.
Just
no. I said I have a stream.
Tom.
I have a stream on there.
Actually,
once a
that's
week.
irrelevant.
Go ahead,
Tom, please.
God, Jesus. Look, I just want to know if you could like render an argument against the existence of God.
Why would I have to do that?
Wow.
No, just it's not about why you would have to. You're being asked like if you could just like render an argument against God.
I mean, I could, but what would be the point of it?
Which argument? Wait.
I mean, because
which
are we ignoring?
Shush.
Hold on. Can I respond?
Yes.
You prefaced your question by saying that I acknowledge I have a burden of proof, and I think that where we're talking past each other here is when I say I have a burden of proof, I have a burden of justification for my beliefs.
Right. That's fine. That's great.
Correct.
Hold on. Please let me finish. And I've already met that burden of proof when I explained to you why I believe no gods exist.
Look, you don't have to even justify your beliefs to anyone. That's fine. You can just believe whatever you want. I'm asking you, as a person who runs an atheist show, person who has been in the Great Debate community, person who is personally friends with Steve McCrae, who thinks that this definition of atheism thing has been beaten like a dead horse, sort of an anti-theist activist in many ways, can you render a single argument against the existence of God? Or have you just been completely wasting your fucking time?
Fuck.
This is the problem I have with you guys right over there. You spend so much fucking time debating the definition of atheism that you can't even render a fucking argument against God. A single one.
May I tell- John, you said you acknowledge that atheists have a burden of proof, and you said that you presented your proof, and it seems to me that your proof, your evidence for your belief in no gods was your lack of belief. Oh, and he's gone. And he's back. Did you hear what I said, John? It sounds like you're acknowledging. Yes, yeah, I don't give a shit why. It sounds like you're acknowledging that atheists have a burden of proof. It sounds like you're acknowledging. It sounds like you're acknowledging. I don't know why. Are you explaining some other bullshit that nobody cares about?
Well, he
Hey, why don't you
calm down?
Yeah, I don't give a shit if he had bad internet. He's
JJ,
back.
relax.
He was
dude.
gone.
Relax.
You are one of the biggest
While I was talking, he left.
Everybody, just
Now he's
relax.
back,
JJ.
and I'm actually gonna.
You're
JJ,
just gonna talk shit.
JJ,
Why are
please
people
stop.
still talking?
He disconnected. He had bad internet, and he was asked a question before he disconnected. So
Oh, my bad. My mistake.
yeah,
But
so we
again,
wanted to know if you could reproduce any arguments.
right, and again, I am not claiming that I can prove no gods exist. When did I make that claim? I mean,
it's not the question.
It's not proof. It's just art. We just want to know if you can actually argue against the existence of God instead of just saying that you haven't been given sufficient evidence to believe. We want to know if you have any arguments against the God concept or the God model.
and
You can provide them.
again, I asked you when you asked me that, what would the point of that be? I don't see any point in it. No, I see. I don't
To
see
satiate our
point in that.
desires.
What would the
Could you
point of it
please
be?
satiate our desires?
No, actually, that's a strong argument. That I can get behind. To satiate your desire. That sounds like that's
I don't
strong.
understand.
Strong argument.
No, the question
But, I
isn't
mean,
why
here's the
you
thing,
would.
Well, look, I could
John,
lay.
the question isn't why you would.
I could lay an argument down, but the thing is, and Tom, I like talking to you. I like your channel. You know, cool dude.
Jesus.
I'm a sub and
No,
all that. I'm really
irrelevant.
having a tough time. I'm having a tough time taking part here with Jay here because he just seems to
Yeah.
be.
Well,
like,
he
an
is a little out of control. Yeah, he just
like he
gets
seems to be
real
an
close to his
obstacle
mic.
to actual discourse. I mean, so
Look, so
patience is low.
there's a solution to this, and that is that you talk to Tom, right? Like just let Tom work, and you can discuss your issues with Tom.
I mean, I don't really have no issues though. Like,
Look.
No, you
look,
really do. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Tom.
no.
Look, man, I just want to know. Can you render an argument for God? And if you can't, we're going to teach you one before we send you back on your way.
yeah, I didn't really come here to learn anything. I'd rather remain ignorant.
No, but you're claiming that you're not ignorant, right? You said that you could render an argument for God.
Right.
So we wouldn't be teaching you anything.
I want to learn the argument.
Well, he said he could render an argument. I'm wondering which argument he would render.
Like somehow somebody pulled me in this room. I didn't even come in this room to begin with.
Look, which argument would you render if you were going to render one?
Yeah, I think I've already indicated to you that I don't want to do this. Like,
right, gotcha.
It's pointless.
You don't want to say what the argument would be?
So look, here's the closing, right? We've all been in your position. We've all wasted a lot of fucking time doing stupid shit with this like lactheism bullshit and talking about the definition of atheism, right? Upon reflection, you're probably looking at the past
I
and saying,
haven't done that.
you're probably looking at the past and thinking, wow, you know, I acknowledge that I have a positive, I have a burden of proof because atheism is a positive assertion, and yet I can't render a single argument against the non-existence of God.
I did say I couldn't render an argument. I've rendered arguments. I've argued with people over this, and I have made arguments.
Okay.
I
What
told you I'm not
argument
gonna.
could you render for us here now? Like that's what you're being asked, right?
Right, I know that's what I'm being asked, but see, I'm not your circus monkey. I don't have to do what you do.
Well, what's your favorite argument? What's your favorite argument against
The one that I'm
the
making
existence
now
of
that
God?
I'm not. That my favorite argument ever is the one I'm making now that I'm not your circus monkey.
Look, all right,
Yikes.
fine, dude.
That's a big yikes.
We get it. We know what's going on. Okay, you don't know any arguments. Have you ever heard of the problem?
Right.
Have you ever heard
No,
of the?
you're absolutely right. You're right. You're right. I don't know any arguments. I know nothing about nothing. Tom, you are spot on as always.
Yeah, I called that a while ago.
Have you ever heard of the
Yeah.
problem of evil?
Yes.
Well, do you think that's a good argument?
I think that's a marvelous argument.
All right. Do you want to render it for us?
It sounds to me like you're already familiar with it.
I've heard it.
It's like at the beginning of a football game, the person that sings the Star Spangled Banner just gets up on the mic and goes, "You guys have already heard this one before, so you can just kind of sing it to yourselves if you want."
Amen.
What, this is really an argument against God? This is a horrible argument.
Well, no, we'll talk. We'll talk to you, Sugar, about it later. So I'm just curious. Jay, is one of the arguments for about the problem of evil what justifies your belief in there not being a God?
All I can say is when back in my
You can't
30s,
answer the
when
question.
I'm trying to answer the question. I mean, but you only let someone get 4 words out of their mouth before you interrupt because you're like, I don't know.
I already can tell you're not answering the question.
You're like a douche or something. I don't know. But look, back when I became an atheist and I was questioning my faith and transitioning to atheism, the problem of evil was something that contributed to me becoming an atheist. Yes, I mean it's a tough problem for Christians. I mean, and it did.
No, it's not.
Well, yeah.
Ooh, I'd like to hear them argue about the problem of evil. Listen, let's have Sugar and JP argue about the problem of evil. Sugar thinks it's not a problem for the Christian.
Oh God, what could I ever possibly say to dispute this incredibly solid argument? Oh yeah, that's right. God isn't supremely good. Done. Mic drop.
Okay, so your version of God's not supremely good. Okay.
Yeah, that's stupid. What does that even mean, supremely good? It's so dumb.
His version of God also doesn't take any doctor-prescribed medicine.
Hey.
So next argument, you guys want to keep lining these ones up? I'll keep dropping them down.
Right, but the argument of evil.
Well, I thought I'm waiting. You're not giving Jay a chance to respond. Let Jay respond.
Yeah.
No,
let him come back.
All I said was Sugar's a boss. That's all I said.
Wait a minute.
Oh.
Wait a minute.
Sugar wins.
Yep, Sugar's a boss, man. I can't get past
Oh
him.
my God, I won.
You won, Sugar.
I was mashing on that fucking X button, and it just wouldn't do nothing, man. I can't get past this level.
So just one more follow-up, Jay. The problem of evil, or one of the problems of evil, contributed to your belief that no gods exist, or your lack of a belief that God exists?
Oh, that's dumb. Sugar.
Is JJ a one-trick pony? Is he a one-trick? Yeah, that's what.
But that might be, but you haven't answered a single of his questions, right? He might be a one-trick pony, but you haven't answered a single fucking question of him.
Well, I mean, he asked like pretty irrelevant questions, but whatever.
What do you mean it's irrelevant? It's perfectly relevant to what you've been talking about.
Well, no, I mean, this whole time, I mean, I've just been responding. First of all, I didn't even come in this room. You, Tom, must have reached out with your fucking special mod powers and
All
pulled me
right.
in here.
Yeah, you said that like 10 times. We got it, man. We got it.
Yeah.
But
I'm really disappointed,
but
John.
whatever.
I just want to tell you something, John. John, a lot of the people in here were part of the great debate community long before Steve McRae came around, and it's people like Steve McRae and apparently you who have taken up the mantle. And if you are representative of that community that we have left in your hands, I'm very disappointed.
Yeah. I have one stream a week. I bring people on to discuss different issues.
It's awful. I haven't seen it, and it's awful.
Yeah.
You can't render one argument against God? One fucking argument against God.
Next question.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, here's the next question. Can you render another argument for God against God?
Yeah, I'm so over this.
Man.
I bet you are, bud. Bet you are.
Yeah.
So
Hey,
sugar,
can
the
you
problem-
can you do us a favor if you're like the probe that escaped the McRaeism ship? Can you go back with the message? Stop fucking talking about the definition of atheism and agnosticism.
Hey,
it's
I don't
getting fucking
control- I don't-
old for the last
Yeah, I don't-
6 years.
I don't-
I'm
I
not
don't
done
care.
yet. I'm not
I don't
done
control,
yet.
I don't give a fuck
I'm
if
not
you're
done
done
yet.
or not.
But,
I don't care
like,
if you're done or not.
Perhaps
I
you
don't
can
give
go
a
back
fuck
to
if
the
you're done or not. Why the fuck would I
Michael-
care if you're done or not? Why would I care if you're done or not? I mean, who the fuck are you?
Michael, I have to disagree with you, Michael. Michael, I have to disagree with you.
I don't control him.
John Peterson here is a prime example why they need to continue to try to define this thing, because he's completely confused as to what atheism is.
Fucking idiots. 6 years on the same fucking discussion. Still can't render an argument against God.
Look, did I tell you were? I told
He
you.
doesn't even know if atheism is the lack of a belief in a God or the
haven't
belief
been
in no
around
God.
for 6 years. I don't even know what you're talking about.
Dude, okay.
Yeah, it's clear that you don't know what we're talking about.
Here's how it goes,
right,
just really quickly,
because you-
JP. So I'm gonna
you
send.
wanna try
So
and
when you
prescribe
go
to
on
me
your way,
how
you
I
can at least have
identify my
something, right?
atheism, and I identify as an atheist for the reasons I gave you. You can accept them or not. It doesn't matter to me.
JP, there's a couple different problems of evil. One is the logical problem of evil, and the other one is the evidential problem of evil. And the evidential problem of evil is about like gratuitous stuff, and then the logical one is just about evil existing at all. So the evidential one would go something like, you know, God is all loving, omnibenevolent, and totally nice dude, who would never be okay with gratuitous suffering. Gratuitous suffering exists, so therefore God does not exist.
That was beautiful, man.
You don't even know what the fuck he's talking about.
You're right. I don't.
GDC is being run by dipshits.
Jay, you're right. I know nothing about nothing. I defer to you in all things.
That's a strong.
Look, stop like deflecting and stop putting up all the little like walls of insecurity. Why don't you just address the argument?
I'm
right?
here. That's
You
all
were
I'm here
just
to do.
wait. I'm not done. Hang on just a second. You were
I
just
still don't know
given
what this
two.
is. I still
You
don't
were
know what
just
this
given.
is. I'm
you were-
only here to
All right.
deflect.
All right, coach.
I'm
Go
only
ahead,
here to
coach.
deflect.
Go
I
ahead,
mean,
coach.
I'm only here to deflect.
Yeah, filibuster some more, Jay.
I don't even know what this is. I mean,
Yeah, we know you don't.
whatever.
So
I believe
you
it.
came here. You came here, and you were
I didn't
just
come
given after.
I didn't come here.
You didn't come
I didn't-
here.
Nope.
He
Join the.
was
How did
join
you
the
get
server,
here?
Join.
How
join
did
the-
you get here?
I joined the server and I was texting someone, and someone pulled me into this room.
So
I
you
not-
did join this server. You came
Right,
here.
I joined the server. I didn't come here to this voice channel though.
How did
Somehow
you
I
get
got
here
pulled
then?
in. I don't know. A mod pulled me in here or something. I was
Oh, for
DMing
fuck's
somebody, and all
sake.
of a sudden I could hear you guys talking.
Well, when you click to join the server, it puts you in the server.
It doesn't put you automatically into a voice channel, does it? I've never been on a
It
server
does.
that did
Yeah,
that.
you were in the channel Majestic
Yeah.
Mayflower.
Yeah,
I never
Fuck.
been part of a server that did that.
No way, we can't hack your computer to make you join against your will.
Well,
or
boomer,
join-
man.
you didn't join.
I didn't join the voice. I mean, you have to go into the voice
can-
channel,
you
then
can
you
make
have
an
to
invite.
click on connect to voice,
I'm
and
just
I
trying to
didn't do
explain it
that.
to
You can,
No, you go
can make
straight.
an
You go
invite
straight
to
into
a
the voice.
channel.
you go straight into a voice channel. In this case, it's set to go straight into Majestic Mayflower, which is a voice channel.
So you're in a voice channel, and then somebody brought you into this voice channel.
Jesus Christ, man.
Corrected again.
Fucking idiots. You know what? When you go back home to Steve McRae's fucking channel, tell the rest of your fucking idiot friends to not come over here. How's that?
Come on.
No,
come on. Jesus,
no,
that's
no.
horrible.
Tell them to come over here if they want to be fixed.
Oh, boo.
Only come here if you want to be fixed. If you want to stay a fucking dipshit, don't come here.
What will I ever do? Some fucking retarded fucking trolls were mean to me.
Trolls?
Trolls? Bro, I taught you. I told you I'd teach you something if you don't know, and I did.
You got 2 fucking arguments out of this discussion. What are you talking about?
They're literally.
And if you wanted to learn more, if you wanted to educate yourself more, you could come back. But you would have to be open to being fixed.
Except for when you explained to me how I got in here, there's literally not one word that has come out of any of your fucking mouths that I have not heard before.
Literally. Could you Google literally for me?
Well, it actually means figuratively now because of assholes like him, JJ.
Is JP Jim Majors?
No, he's John Peterson from the
John
GDC.
Peterson.
So JP, you can say that we're assholes. You can say that we're aggressive and that we're like very mean to you or whatever. But don't call us trolls because then you're just dismissing what we're saying.
It's a whole fucking room full of trolls, except for, I mean, the most reasonable person I've heard from tonight. The most reasonable person I've heard from tonight is Lucky Me and Sir Penis Hat.
Finally figured it out.
What the fuck his name is?
Wait, but what's your definition of a troll then?
Sir Penis Tooth.
That was nice to you. That hurts. I don't like
What's
that.
your
Well, no, you're right. You're right. I didn't get the shout out to all the reasonable people. You're right.
John,
So
what's in the future?
Yeah, I love that people just keep talking. I mean, I guess I wasn't talking. Just go ahead, Ix. Go ahead.
I wanted to ask John a question. If I may.
Yeah, go ahead. I mean, you're important, right? Go ahead.
Very
I mean,
important.
Thank you,
can
Jovan.
ask the question, but just let me say this. I got a notification from Tom's channel because I'm sub to him, and I saw in the notification live stream, and I saw Jim Major's name in there. I'm like, oh fuck, I love Tom's channel, and there I know Jim Majors. I'm gonna go check this out, and I thought that maybe there was some kind of, since Jim was here and Tom was both here, that there was like some theological discussion going on that would be interesting to listen to, and then I get over here and it's just a shit show, and so
It's better than you could have ever hoped for, right?
Shit show?
yeah. Well, I mean, any show that you take part in, JJ, by definition, would be a shit show. So yeah.
I'm like,
John, what's the future for GDC? Is there going to be more content now that Steve's not doing NumSec?
Well, I mean, I don't know what the future for it is because I'm not the channel owner. I just do one stream a week. Steve allows me to use the channel once a week to do a stream, and I usually have a panel. I have a feature channel every week. Bring on another YouTube channel that I think people should know about, and we interview them for the first 15 minutes, and then we have a panel discussion. Last week we talked about religious female subservience, and spent a lot of that discussion talking about the heinous practice of female genital mutilation. And we have discussions,
Yummy.
different topics.
You bring me on to talk about antidepressants?
Talk about what?
Antidepressants.
Sugar is very antidepressant.
I'm actually curious. When you talked about female genital mutilation, what did you talk about?
Well, I mean, the thing is like I had Dr. Misha Griffith on, Nicholas Suter.
Why?
You needed a doctor to tell you it's bad to cut off clitorises?
Why did you have these people on?
I had on Topic Thunder, Gray Skeptic, and usually during those discussions, I mean, I'm trying to answer you, but you want to keep interrupting. I
didn't ask you who you talked with. I asked you what you talked about.
Yeah, okay.
JJ, just dial it back a little bit, please.
at any rate,
frustrating.
I generally try and play the role of a facilitator. I do take part in the discussion, but I usually try and ask people to come on that know more about the topics than I do, because my goal is to, get the proper information out there. I mean, and get the idea, and in this case, Dr. Griffith is a historian, and she was able to provide, some historical context. And what we did is, because it was, an issue about, female subservience, then Topic Thunder, who's a female YouTuber, and Dr. Misha opened the discussion. They took like the first 20-25 minutes talking about it.
Are there
There
any
was, like,
advocates pro genital mutilation that like talk in public, or is this mostly a behind closed doors thing?
Well, no. As a matter of fact, there was a case. Where one of the parties in the
dodged
case
my
was
question.
trying. Oh my God, Jay, you just like. There was a case where one of the parties was.
He has brain
trying
damage. Forgive him. It's not his fault.
He was trying to make the argument that female genital mutilation is a religious right. And that was the reason that I came up with that discussion, because Topic Thunder had tweeted about that court case here a few weeks ago.
There are actually, I know a lot of people won't agree with this, but there are actually studies that were done into twin studies that were done into one girl that had it done and one that hadn't, identical twins, and it was in a study of I think it was quite a lot. So it was like 98,000 Saudi men could tell no difference between either vagina. So that's a positive thing for it. So the men could actually tell no difference in these women.
That's pretty disgusting, but okay.
Why is that positive for it?
Oh God.
I mean, I don't give a shit, but
Yeah, it's cultural, by the way.
Yeah, I would say on that note, I'm going to let you guys carry on without me. I don't see any point in continuing. But
all right, later, bro.
If you ever want to know what the future of the GDC is, ask the channel owner.
I would just look down a toilet.
Yeah.
Hey, later, Paul. See you later.
All right,
Paul.
JP.
don't give a
see ya.
shit.
Okay.
That's what asking for your voice to proof like the fucking play.
He's gone.
That
You're echoing, Simon.
The
It
greater
sucks.
debate community.
It's the great debate. It's just the great debate.
Sorry, just
JJ, why'd you do that to him, man?
I just think you guys were squandering an opportunity to get on his show and like make a scene there.
Yeah, all 40 people that watch it.
I think his show consists of him and other people who agree with him, talking about how right they are.
Well, that's why I asked them if they had anybody or if they knew of any like strong advocates pro FGM.
Fuck, I'll do it. I'll run the advocacy. What's his
Fuck
name?
off.
Does anyone have his Discord handle? I'll propose a debate with him over it.
I think
Advocate for female genital mutilation.
I think we've passed that bridge, Claire.
Is someone suggesting that the GDC is an echo chamber?
He was JJ.
He won't recognize me.
What I'm saying is like as much of a train wreck as it is, Ace getting on non-sec was entertaining. People who have shows, maybe we should be slightly less abusive towards and more oriented towards getting a community member on those shows.
I agree.
Content people.
JJ was just out of control. I probably should have put a muzzle on him.
He really likes to yell at people.
Michael too, man.
How can you overcome that?
I hate to say it.
Yeah, I agree.
No, I thought it was pretty cool.
Well,
I was like
I was
men in a
I was
in a couple days.
So hang on just a second.
That's not
so,
true.
Like,
I don't like to
I
have
was-
to yell.
wait,
Can we have
God damn
one
it.
person
JJ,
talk
Michael's
at a
defending
time?
himself.
One person. Everybody shut up. Michael, go ahead.
Why is Jovan yelling?
Because
So-
you can't shut the fuck up, Jake.
Here, it's just me, JJ.
So I was only ever, I thought, I miscalculated, but I thought what I was doing was only ever holding a mirror up to this guy's behavior. And so if somebody found my behavior objectionable, I think that they ought be finding Jay Pete's behavior equally objectionable. right? And I understand that like everybody's thirsty for new blood or whatever the case is, but that's all I was trying to do. And next time, instead of muting me, just like shoot, at me or send me a DM, be like, "Hey, that's too much," and I'll be like, "All right," and I'll shut up, just like I did after I got unmuted.
Hey, Michael, you have been going pretty hard in general. Like, not even on like. So,
Like I said, he'll be calmer.
did you not even hear it? Do you even listen to the other people in this room, Claire?
Sometimes.
No,
Oh,
let's,
it's funny.
let's cannibalize each other now. People, come on. He ran away after one comment about
Go
the.
ahead, Joe. I'm just gonna start muting people who interrupt you.
So okay, so like I'm just letting you know, Michael, since you asked us to let you know, you have been going kind of like sometimes it's this effect that Silent kind of had. I don't know if Tom's listening or not, but it would just be too hard right away. It kind of like undermines like the potential.
Yeah, so like I said, I'm just going to reiterate what I said. Like what I thought I was doing was holding up a mirror to the behavior that somebody was espousing in the room. And if I like overdid it, I apologize. Just, let me know in the future before you mute me and I'll like totally back off. I'm happy to sit in silence and listen to you guys go at this person, whoever they
My
may be.
interjections are like 1 5-word sentence. You guys realize that, right?
Yeah, well, now at the beginning of the conversation, it was tacitly chosen that JJ would be the interlocutor, and then all I heard was other people in the room interrupting that. And
That
not
was a
giving me a chance.
mistake.
Now, well, maybe a mistake, but that's what seems to happen. In
JJ
these
was
podcasts.
never chosen as the interlocutor.
Well, tacitly, it was said one person should be the interlocutor.
Oh, is
and
that?
then several people said it should be JJ since he'd already started talking to this guy.
Yeah, and then he said he didn't want to do it.
Well, that's true. That is true. But then nobody went forward and said, "I will do it," right? And that seems to me.
That was the worst. He's like, "Oh well, I don't want to do it." You're fucking like yelling over everyone, yelling at the guy, and all of a sudden you're like, "Oh no,
well,
I don't want to do this."
At that point, though, Joe. To be fair.
Several people stepped forward, but JJ would yell over them or yell at them for talking.
Mm-hmm.
He asked the guy 50 times, why does he not believe in God? It was just unbearable.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right. I'm always right, by the way.
Yeah, that conversation was so much less enjoyable than it could have been.
Yeah, I'll unmute you, JJ, so you can defend yourself for a little while.
Yeah, fuck you, Joe Sunseed. That's not even true what you said.
Oh shit.
No, Joe said was true.
We're cannibalizing, boys.
This was all recorded.
Which
I
part?
challenge Joe. I will bet you.
Who recorded it?
I was not yelling over people. After I said I didn't want to, and then nobody else wanted to talk to him about it, I started to, and then Chum jumped in. Oh, is everybody going to talk? Then Chum jumped in with some nonsense.
Yeah, you don't like that, JJ?
Actually, I don't care. I'll just keep talking.
I don't understand the whole getting mad at over talking thing when there's like less than a fucking quarter-second gap between 3 different fucking people piping in one right after each other.
There wasn't a gap.
I mean,
look, you're looking at it like there's not 40 different people in the room and 40 different people over talking like quarter-second gaps. You don't understand, Claire. Like if it was just you, yeah, no one would really care that much. But there's so many other people here that you could literally occupy the entire time, like people interrupting each other.
Okay, so when I said there were quarter-second gaps between people talking, I wasn't referring to how long I was interjecting. I'm saying that to not overtalk someone, you basically have to have like precognition of when they're going to talk.
No, you don't. You start talking while other people are talking.
And then another person. So I'm not gonna wait 5 minutes for a one-liner. I'm sorry, that's fucking stupid.
I understand that.
It's not that fucking hard.
Sound really dumb right there.
It's not that fucking hard to overtalk someone making a single statement and keep going. It's not fucking impossible. It doesn't take that much brain.
I think sometimes you should be more choosy about your quips or one-liners, as you say.
Sure, but I don't think it's the problem it's being made out to be. I think, maybe there's a bunch of
Wow.
over-talking.
Many people find it
joined-
objectionable.
Maybe there was a bunch of over-talking right before I joined the server, so you're being hypersensitive right now. But I don't think that was particularly egregious. Yeah, well, I'm not
What do you
responsible
mean
for
right
that.
now,
And I
Claire?
wasn't aware of it.
This has been a problem with you for a long time, and this isn't just like one or two, like just kind of upset people today. Maybe they're on their period or something. This has been a problem for a while.
I don't really think it is, Joe.
It's
I'm sorry
it's
that
a
I've
periodic
grievously
problem.
offended you. I'm sorry that I've grievously offended you with my 5-word statement. I'll try not to do.
Yeah, I think that guy should also be used to interruptions. I mean, he comes from talking to Steve, who is the king of interrupting. So I don't see it as being a crime here.
Yeah, wasn't just yelling at him. I was trying not to yell. You
Well,
get
the guy was
frustrated when
okay
people
with interrupting
ignore
other people.
questions. Right. Sometimes you have to yell when people are interrupting you constantly, avoiding the actual question by talking about what they had for breakfast. I'm conscious of myself, and I do listen to feedback.
It's horseshit.
That's ridiculous.
Utter horseshit.
It's true, though, that the one person I really only defer to is
who?
Consistently.
Tom.
You.
Yes. Thank you.
Well, it's the most reasonable position. I want my badge back.
JB,
So next time, all you literally have to do is be like, "Hey, Michael, I think you're going on a bit strong, right? Like, why do you? I don't understand like how people.
I agree.
I miscalculate. Everybody does this too, right? Like everybody miscalculates like how hard they're going in on new people. Just let me know. Like you don't have to mute me. Just let me know.
I agree with Michael here.
There's a widely
Michael
used
is
safe word.
often open to just some, please, Michael.
Yeah, I guess safe word is incorrect.
To?
Just literally anybody who has objections about my behavior.
Right, because I didn't
just let me know.
Like, I didn't advocate for muting you. I felt like since you were putting.
I muted him.
You were
okay. Maybe he's talking to me.
Okay.
No, I mean just literally any. Well, wait a minute. Anybody who, I'm not talking to any one person in particular. Look, if you just say like, "Hey, Michael, I think you're like going in hard," I'll stop. I'll immediately stop. Jay's right. You guys know I'll stop. Just tell me that, and if I'm ruining the conversation, I'm out. I'll take a seat.
So like my telling you about the pattern wasn't to suggest that I don't think that you're open to that at all. It's just that you brought it up, and I figured I should tell you. And like I'm definitely in the future, like I'm not just gonna like wait.
Yeah, no worries,
until,
man. I'm not mad. Look, I'm not mad at anybody. I'm just saying. Look, I'm not mad at anybody. I'm just saying, like, I am receptive to those sort of like reforms in behavior.
Yes, I think we're agreed with that. Joe, are you referring more to Michael just going too hard, too fast on anybody?
See, that's the other. It's not even like on newbies. I think they're like for the past 2 months, Michael is kind of when he is like in the interrogator role, he's been pretty heavy on who he's interrogating.
Why don't we just use red light as the safe phrase? If
There you
just
go.
want to let somebody know that they're going
Red light,
hard.
red
just
light.
say
Yeah,
red
that's
light.
just it means to take it down a fucking notch, buddy.
I mean, I've said this.
That screenshot is real time, and that is in,
oh no,
that is in the Dragoon server.
What is
I'll be back.
I just got confirmation that is 100% the same person.
Excellent.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I've long been an advocate of not sucking people dry immediately.
What the fuck?
Oh, come on, you guys are known for being a bit feisty with it. Yeah, I've got to
Not
say
me,
that. Well, this server in particular, is known that to be black belts, shall we say?
Feed
Not sure.
slowly, please.
It is known.
What do you mean by like? Are you just meaning like aggressive, like people who like to debate when you say black
You
belt?
might just mean cunts.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah, JJ, if you, what you did was sucking dry. There was not going to be a repeat feeding the way you handled that.
Maybe you're right. I may have become a little too ravenous later on. It wasn't immediate though.
JJ, your role's actually better suited to befriend the person, to good cop them, and then stab them in the back later on. Not that day, a couple days down the line. You get a better reaction that way. What's he doing? Why is Dad treating me like this? That sort of reaction. You get the old bears in the room, Michael and JJ. You can't have two old bears go after another old bear. It's dumb. That was like a dad fight at a barbecue, right? All these old men yelling at each other when they came in. You gotta be their friend. Oh, yeah, we're a little slow too. Yeah, isn't atheism fun? You do that, and then when you build their trust, that's when you.
Yeah, and
nail
this guy was somebody who identifies. His identity is wrapped up in being an atheist. And Michael and JJ walked up.
He's not.
Yeah, like they walked up to this other dad and like in front of all the other people, they were like, "Hey, we're gonna teach you how to barbecue."
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
Can you imagine how he felt? He's embarrassed.
Yeah, I underestimated his ability to be reasonable, and then I got frustrated immediately.
Oh no.
It was good though that you guys actually gave him some arguments, although he didn't. I think at that point he wasn't going to hear it.
I mean, his dishonesty, which was probably due to his embarrassment, was exposed.
The Christian.
No, it's an atheist, so-called atheist.
He's not an atheist. He's an agnostic.
Yeah.
Right, or lacktheist,
Wait.
whatever.
So I was in the car and I kind of tried to get in here, but my 4G's fucking terrible on the road, and I heard some guy saying something really stupid. He said, "I've seen no evidence for God, and I'm part of humanity. Therefore, humanity hasn't seen evidence of God." Is that the guy you're talking about?
Yeah, that's a little out of context, though.
Well, I heard most of that leading up to that.
So he's one of the main contributors to the Great Debate Community YouTube channel. He's one of Steve McRae's friends. Identifies as an atheist, but when he defines, as Steve McRae does, that an atheist is the positive assertion or belief that no gods exist, his justification for that is his lack of a belief in God, which is not the definition of atheism. Is the definition of lacktheism.
Lack of evidence for God.
I love you so much.
Actually, I was hoping.
Yeah, I got my shit pushed in, like a billion times before, I knew any of this, I mean, that's.
Oh yeah, certainly. Yeah.
Yeah, that's how you learn, is to get your fucking ass kicked, but
I'm sending
yeah,
you the PDF right now. This is done. This is William Lane Craig and another author who J.P. Moreland, who authored this book from the perspective of like trying to help Christians argue for God. But it's an introductory into concepts, and so a lot of examples that they use are of a theological nature. But it's
and that it was unfalsifiable.
No, he said he'd examined evidence, and then he said it was unfalsifiable.
And then he said that there wasn't any evidence. And then he said there could be evidence, and provided what he thought could be evidence.
Yeah, he said it was unfalsifiable, and he was awaiting evidence.
Well, the only positive, Tom, I think, is that you know now that the title of your live stream is quite important. So he said that he saw Jim's name. So perhaps what you're just gonna want to do.
No, he saw the Jim's name as he was speaking in the live stream.
Oh, yeah, but does he know him as that fucking stupid name he's got?
Yeah.
Oh fuck! I thought maybe it was some sort of algorithm thing, like whenever Steve runs a fucking whatever he calls a podcast or whatever it is, just set up a live show and just copy the show title.
So, what was the conclusion in the end? Was it the red light conclusion? Is that the signal?
The safe word?
The safe word?
Yeah, red light.
All right.
Should be perpetuity.
I vote for it being stop the hate.
It's too much.
Stop the hate.
What do you want to know?
Who is the one who actually says that? Is that a John thing? I forget.
No, that's a me thing.
Okay.
Sounds like a sugar thing.
How about like the bacterial flagellum? What's it called? Something. What's the flagellum?
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Yeah, that's the flagellum.
One
motor.
equals flagellum motor. Flagellum motor. No, that's too much. That's hard.
Of people and pandas.
Of pandas and people.
Oh fucking hell, Joe. Red light. Friendly fire.
Well, I went in there. I stepped into that room for just about 5 seconds, and all I heard was Jim saying that he got his shit pushed in, and then Hannah was giving recommendations on arguments against the existence of God. So maybe we got through.
Good.
You guys being mean to Jim again?
No, it was
John Peterson.
John Peterson.
Oh, that guy. All right, I see.
He came in here because Jim was here. And did you hear any of it, Cam?
I heard a little bit, but then
Did you hear how I
work.
encapsulated his position?
No, I didn't.
He said that he agreed with Steve McRae's definition of atheism. We differentiated between the belief in no gods and the lack of a belief in a god. He asserted he was an atheist, agreed with Steve that atheism is the belief in no gods. When asked why he believed that, he said because he lacked a belief in God. That he looked at the evidence.
That's a shit summation, JJ.
Well, yeah, you're probably right, but it doesn't mean a whole lot coming from you. Maybe somebody could fix what I just said. That's essentially it, though.
No, you were pretty accurate. He said he'd examined the evidence and could find no reason to believe a God existed.
He said he found it lacking.
He didn't say he agreed with Steve. Didn't say he believed the way.
Yes, he did.
Believed. No, he didn't.
Yes,
No, he said that he agreed with the way that Steve defines atheism, right?
Correct.
But he wouldn't be agreeing with Steve's position. Steve is agnostic according
On
to
what
his
atheism is. No, on
Yeah, exactly.
Steve's
also
position on
thinks
what atheism is.
Atheism is an attribute of atheism.
So there was one
Well,
thing
that's
in the
just
conversation that I thought was curious. How Steve, the claim was made that Steve doesn't go at people who, well, actually, no, it was different. It was that Steve doesn't tell people that they can't use their particular definition of atheism. But it's somewhat like inconsistent with our experience with him. But he is on record saying that specifically. He's on record, I think maybe even one of his articles, saying that, you know, people are fine to use whatever definition of atheist that they want, but that he wouldn't agree with them, that it's coherent or that it's useful.
He says they're wrong. They can use whatever definition they want, but they'd be wrong if it's not this one.
Yeah, I mean, he might say wrong. I think I've heard him say incoherent a few times. But yeah,
dispute that.
I've also heard the word moron and idiot being used in that context.
Yeah, he's claiming the atheist definition is purely political.
Tom, are you there?
Yeah.
Did he use the exact words, "got my shit pushed in"?
Yes.
Excellent.
Yes, so did Lydia.
I think this probably does in. Hang on. I'll
Damn.
type.
Low blow.
What an asshole.
Fuck you, JJ. If we were at a fucking barbecue, I'd throw you into the fucking coals and beat your face in, you fuck.
Red light.
Why would
Well,
you,
that
why
escalated
would you,
quickly.
Wait. Why would you do that, Michael? Why would you do that, Michael?
Well, because you fucked Lydia over, and then you did your little soft play, because you're a fuck chop. You're a fuckhead, and that's, put it on the record. If I meet you, I'll kick the fucking shit out of you.
Why?
I don't want to state it again. Maybe I won't. Right, I'll take that back. No threats. Just kidding for the recording. But, just don't walk by.
Oh, Lucky, we can fix this. Did you mean in-game?
In game.
Okay, so yeah, it's fine. The threats are fine.
I mean, I think that I'm probably not saying anything new to say that you're a fucking moron. But the main thing is that you have no fucking idea what you're talking about.
No, I think I do.
And you're a piece of shit for even saying such a thing.
Well, because it's a dead topic. Let sleeping topics die. I don't care what the fuck you want it buried and silent and done with. Fine. She doesn't come around the room much, does she? Right?
What's
It's true. When was the last time you talked to her?
When you like to know. When you like to pry into her fucking business again.
I could just ask her.
Yeah, just go ahead and ask her.
Oh, this is delightful.
That's kind of boring. I mean, I actually know what the issue is because I was informed about what
How
Michael
the fuck
did.
are you breaking these e-girl hearts, JJ? I'm astonished.
Well, that's putting it pretty simplistically.
Are you saying, Sugar, that you want tips from JJ?
I'm fascinated that JJ is pulling e-tail and breaking e-hearts.
It's the voice, Sugar. They like his voice.
That is a big part of it. That's true.
Fuck you. Fuck you. You know my weak spots.
Well, that
wasn't even meant as a dig to you. I'm just saying JJ's voice. I've heard people say, "Oh yeah, JJ, say something. I just want to hear you say stuff." Like that's a thing that's literally happened.
Good point. Damn.
I am objectified by my voice.
Yeah.
It's a little rude.
You ever thought about being a voice model?
Yeah.
I don't think that's the word that goes with the first word.
Yeah, I think
voice actor.
We can maybe infer what Sugar meant, though.
What, you're telling me that there's no such thing as a voice model?
If it refers to something distinct from like a voice actor. I'm curious. Is there such a thing?
I don't think anybody refers to it as a voice model.
I don't know, maybe like call girls or whatever.
Do you mean like Sugar that they'd model a GPS's voice, like a computer on his voice?
Okay, a voice actor. It should be called a voice model. What the fuck?
Mm.
Yeah, if you want a phone sex operator to imitate a particular brand and model of GPS or Siri or whatever, that costs extra.
Yeah, okay.